All right. Hello, everyone. This is the American Dream Podcast. This is Daniel Bischoff, and I'm here with.
Mario Lopez.
And today is Saturday, the
Seventh.
the 7th.
Uh,
And this is episode 11. I'm making sure I'm saying episode 11.
7-Eleven.
7-11.
Yeah.
Anyways, but we have a lot to talk about. Very interesting things. Catching up on the fact that certain things have happened, and we both had a sort of a little bit of a change in our life. Me moving to a new house, you moving to a new house, which is strangely happening at the same time, and we're all done. But in a sense, after we moved into our new houses, we were able to get ourselves ready for the podcast, and Mario did a great job getting our studio ready, and I want to thank him for that. Now, with that being said, we're just going to move on over to and pretty much recap and start from where we stopped.
Well, we're going to recap on a lot of stuff because we missed talking about a variety of things.
Yeah.
And not just... We're going to focus a little bit on political stuff in the beginning. But there's also like other stuff that may have happened while we were doing other stuff, you know.
Right. And
but
we both have recently I listened to the podcast. I didn't watch it. But we both recently listened/watched the new episode of Joe Rogan where he had Kanye West on, and we were both really big fans of Kanye West and following his music, his products, and his mind. And we might dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And it can also relate to the political stuff because
Definitely.
At that time that they recorded, he was running for office.
Right.
Of course, he probably had no chance of winning. And he probably knew that, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he actually thought he had a chance.
Right.
But
knowing Kanye, I think he felt
probably
like
thought
he had a chance.
Yeah.
And I respect that because
it's a positive mindset to have.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna. Well, today they announced that Biden, not officially, but I guess I think it was CNN first,
right,
and then AP.
Yeah.
Announced that he had enough votes or was gonna get enough votes to get him past the 270 mark.
Right.
And beat out Donald Trump.
Right.
So we're gonna recap a little bit since we didn't get to talk about it. The journey,
right,
once it started for both Donald Trump and Biden.
Right.
And we're gonna talk about first with the first presidential debate.
Right.
If you want to give like your opinions.
I'll give my opinion, my reaction, my thoughts. And this is where I talk about myself. And myself as in the person that was watching those couple of weeks ago. And my mindset and my opinions and the way I feel about politics and stuff like that. I think that it was a display of, visually it was a display of two people going after each other. Both people had their own game plans. I think Donald Trump had a pretty solid idea and plan of what he was going to do and how he was going to say anything he wanted to say and impose his ability to be Donald Trump in that moment. And whether that includes interrupting Joe and that went back and forth with Joe interrupting him, as I expected it should be, mainly because of the way, like the importance of what this event is. I think that event demands that most people have to pretty much stand strong on what they're saying and believe in, whether it's true or not true. In the eyes of people who are watching, it has to be done in a certain way. And I think both people had an idea how they were wanting to approach it. So as I'm watching and listening to the issues, I think one of the things I had an issue overall with the event is the lack of, I think the lack of respect of allowing people to speak coming from both sides. And I don't really want to care too much right now about who did it more versus the other. They both did it at some point by interrupting each other through the debate. And I think that for me watching, I didn't really like that both people didn't allow each other to speak and be able to finish their full thought without being interrupted. regardless of the fact that like they're saying something important. But I think that it's important for people that are watching, no matter their age or whatever, to be able to see how two adults are interacting with each other and how it's going so bad in certain ways. I don't know if you agree on that or you saw something different, because obviously we're both different people and we watched it through a different type of lens and ideas and thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a good example of how productive that debate was.
Right.
I really don't remember any specific thing that they talked about, really. The only thing I remember is them interrupting each other. Both of them did it, but I felt like Donald Trump was the one that was constantly doing it. You know, he wouldn't really let Biden talk. And I felt like if he was like pressuring him on maybe something, because I think there was an instance about like court packing. I don't know if you're familiar
I
with
remember
that term.
Yeah.
But yeah, he mentioned that, and if he would have just let him like have a few minutes like to respond, or
Seconds.
maybe to like be left in silence without like Biden responding to anything, it would have been effective for his overall campaign. But since he would just ask and then keep saying, well, are you going to answer? And are you going to answer? But he wouldn't like give him time to answer. So
that's what I think part of it comes back to when I mentioned each people had their own game plan. I think Donald Trump's game plan was to be dominant. And I think he succeeded in the way that I think the way he pictured himself speaking and being dominant in that position, he was able to accomplish that. Now, accomplishing that I felt like accomplishing that wasn't a great strategy, mainly because, I mean, if you're somebody that listens to him blindly, then I think that it works really well. But if you're looking at it in the lens of trying to analyze because you're not sure which side you want to listen to, it's difficult because both of them, in some instances, don't fully answer the questions that are being posed. And it's kind of defeats the purpose of the whole event if they're there to be answering questions, but the answers don't fully correlate or don't fully answer the question. And that's very troubling considering they're in an event that determines the future of America.
Yeah, for sure. And how you're talking about where people need to answer or actually get not their whole thought, because obviously there's a time restriction, but that is the job of the moderator. You know? And it's very important how that person performs,
right,
to be unbiased,
right,
as much as possible,
right,
because everyone has their own opinions and thoughts. But in this sort of event, the moderator needs to try his best not to show blatantly that he's in favor of a political party more than
right, or giving more, I guess, allowance or
so like in the debates, mostly you would see like tougher questions asked to Donald Trump, and maybe easier questions to Biden, and then sometimes Biden would be let to talk a little bit more, or in the vice presidential debate,
right.
I think Kamala talked a little bit more, and then in the second debate, it was a little bit more even.
Yeah,
but you could still see a little bit, some instances where certain things were
unclear.
Not unclear, but they were sort of biased towards Biden as well. Not as much as the first two, because I felt like the moderator in that one did a really good job.
The second one?
The second debate, yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, the moderator is very important in this because it controls them.
Right.
And there was a point where even Chris Wallace in the first debate, he was kind of flustered and getting a little bit irritated, angry.
Yeah, I could tell he was like...
He was like almost starting to debate Donald Trump also.
Right.
And even Trump mentioned it, like, am I debating him or you?
Right.
Something like that.
Right.
But yeah, the first debate, I didn't think it was productive. And I think that debate probably made Trump lose a lot of votes. And he lost a lot of votes because he seemed like it's not that the Republicans like love his attitude of like being like a bully kind of, or like being alpha. But I felt like he was too excessive in that it came off really annoying to a lot of people.
Right.
Of course, there's some people that probably don't agree with that.
Or find it entertaining.
Yeah, it was entertaining to see them just go back and forth.
Yeah.
But if you're someone that actually wants policies and is very serious about this stuff,
yeah,
then you won't really like his attitude of he's really not saying any substance, and he's also not letting the other person have substance because he's interrupting.
Right.
And that led him to lose a lot of like votes in the polls. And we can talk about polls also later. But then I felt like the vice presidential debate was not really as important. And it's really never important because it doesn't really help either like running a candidate.
Right. Like
it's more like a side thing.
Right.
And even in this, it kind of felt a little more important maybe because Mike Pence is usually a guy that sort of condenses everything that what Trump is, but he makes it normal, you know?
Right. Calm.
He calm, normal, and very like sophisticated. And it's not like bragging, narcissistic, and any of that stuff. He brings it all together and makes it sound really good.
Yeah, he really does.
With people.
Yeah.
And then it would be interesting also with Kamala or Kamala. I don't know how you pronounce it, but because I was watching that, she didn't have like good debating skills, and I wanted to see what kind of stuff she would say, or if maybe she would contradict herself with certain things, and see what kind of like attitude they would have with the debate.
Right.
Did you see that one? I
did actually. I watched. When I watched it, I thought it was a productive. I was sitting there thinking, I'm spending a productive time listening to this right now because I can clearly hear people's full thoughts. Not that much interruptions, I would say, but I think that the energy in the room in that when they were speaking was more focused. I think that both people were. I think part of it is because of how I don't know if chaotic would be the word to describe the first. I think because the first debate was so unproductive, I think they had some kind of feeling to make sure this doesn't look like a shit show like the first one. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of vibe I was getting from it. And I think that both people were able to, I mean, Mike, I don't listen. I guess I realize I don't listen to Mike Pence a lot because, I mean, why would I? I don't really, like, he's not.
kind of like off to the side.
Right.
You barely notice.
Right. But then I was listening to him and I was like, some of the stuff he's saying is so smooth, but it don't make sense. And I'm like,
what do you mean?
I don't know. I was like listening and I'm just like.
I think it's just his way of talking. I think he used to do radio.
Okay. But I don't know. Like, I was listening and I'm like, am I listening to what he's saying or am I listening to the sound of what he's saying? But either way, I think it was a better, both people expressed a little more maturity, I would say, in the way that they understood this is an important event and to take it seriously in a way that what they're saying needs to be clear and heard by the people that are listening versus tearing each other apart. You know what I mean? And that's why I guess you would say the vice presidential debate isn't that necessarily important because they're not like it's pointless for Mike to go after Kamala Harris or Kamala Harris to go after Mike. Makes more sense for Mike to go after Joe Biden because Joe Biden will be the president more than anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but a lot of people don't really care because at the end of the day, they're voting for Biden or Trump.
Right.
And they're not going to be voting for Pence or Harris.
Right.
But I'm going to pull up some of the highlights from that debate because it's actually, they're pretty good. This is the moderator. She tried to do her best, but I felt like she didn't do much.
I didn't watch it from the beginning, so this is actually pretty good.
The American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country. And our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy for contact tracing, for testing, for administration of the vaccine, and making sure that it will be free for all.
And quite frankly, when I look at their plan that talks about advancing testing, creating new PPE, developing a vaccine, it looks a little bit like plagiarism, which is something Joe Biden knows a little bit about. I think the American people know that.
Would you like to respond? Absolutely. Whatever the vice president.
What?
I think that's what I meant when I said, like, what does that comment have to do with what the topic was on?
So the question, I think, in that instance was first given to Kamala.
I guess like the plan to handle
the plan of handling
the virus.
And she answered, and then Mike said that her plan is what we've been doing all along, and it sounds like plagiarism.
Right.
And I guess Joe Biden did plagiarism in college. I think he wrote some things. I think, I'm not really sure what it referenced, but he kind of did like a little jab at Biden. But in a sense, in that question, I remember, because I was listening to it at work, and Kamala Harris didn't really answer, really. She first attacked about the same thing that everyone attacks. They failed, 210,000 at that point had died. And a lot of people lost jobs and all that. She literally reiterated everything that we already knew.
Right.
So when I heard that, I was like, just say something new or answer the question, because the question wasn't, what do you think about their job during the coronavirus?
Right.
It was, what is your plan with Biden to help ease the virus or any like sort of that case?
Yeah. And it's almost like every time a question gets asked, they have to find a moment to throw a jab with the answer, or throw jabs the entire time. I'm like,
or not even answer the question.
Oh yeah.
There was, I think the following question was in an event where, because Biden is like what, 78?
He's pretty old, man.
He's almost 80, and then Trump is almost like 75, I think. So they're really old, and she asked the question that if they had planned, either of them, with their Trump or Biden, whether if at any point they were unfit to be in office, if they sort of thought about like certain procedures.
Right.
None of them answered it. Kamala Harris just talked about how the first time Biden called her to be like her running mate.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that. That's when she went into like talking about her story.
Yeah, and almost throughout the whole debate, she just talked about her.
She was showcasing herself, like, yeah.
Let's see. It's gonna play. Well, it's loading, I guess. After that, it was a good debate because they had like a moderator that would kind of control them with the interruptions.
Right.
And Mike Pence doesn't like look like a guy that would cut you off all the time,
right,
or be interrupting everything you're saying.
I guess aggressive.
Yeah, he seems like a passive guy, just chilling.
He really is.
That he doesn't even notice the fly on his head. You see that?
I know. I took a picture of it.
Yeah.
It's historical. Like, this is going in the history book. Like, yeah, the debate was horrible. Anyways, if you look on this page, here's a picture of a fly on Mike Pence, because this shit was hilarious.
Yeah. But There was, I think, one of the major moments, I think, was when they were asking about the court packing, and Kamala Harris was saying, well, let's talk about that. And then she never talked about it. She kept saying that and never talked anything about it. And even like Mike Pence called it out and said, let the record show that she never answered the question that I asked.
Right.
But overall, that debate, even if there was good substance, it wasn't going to really affect either candidate. And at that point, I think Trump had already gotten tested positive for the coronavirus. At that point, I think that's why they had like plexiglass in front of them.
Right.
And they were far distance.
Right.
So the following week, I think, was supposed to be the second debate.
Right.
But the commission said that Trump, since he was still like quarantined or something, that they wouldn't be able to do a live debate.
Right.
It would have to be everything from like a call, basically. Right. And Trump didn't want to do that.
Right.
Because he felt like it would be unfair, because Biden would probably have assistance with answering questions, because he thinks that Biden is like not mentally fit right now, and that someone might be in his ear, or he might be reading off like a teleprompter, which he has done before. And there has been proof when I think he was in an interview, and some person was, I don't know what channel it was, but they were asking him a question, and the interviewer was looking at him, and Biden wasn't looking at him. He was looking somewhere else. He was reading. He was saying something.
Sleepy Joe's like, I don't know this one. Let me check the board real quick.
Yeah. And he was basically reading, and the guy was like looking at him, and Biden was looking at somewhere else, I guess, reading off something. But he didn't want to go through that, you know. I guess he thought it would be unfair. So they basically just canceled it.
Yeah.
But the weird part was that on the day that they were supposed to have the debate, each candidate had their own, like, they did a town hall.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. And they were on, like, almost at the same time.
Yeah.
Different channels. And a lot of people from, like, the media got angry that, I forgot who it was, if it was MSNBC. I don't know who did the Trump town hall. But they were mad that they were actually doing one for Trump also, because for some reason, I guess they didn't want him to get any more attention or try like pick up more votes and just have a Biden night that day. Oh. So the interviewer, or I don't know if you would say moderator, but that questioned Trump was really, really tough on him.
Oh yeah, I watched really it. Tough. I was like, she knows what she knows she's about to ask. She's going to ask it, and these are not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Questions.
No. And so Trump had a little bit of a rough time there. He didn't really answer that well, but he did his best, really, because the questions were really tough.
Yeah.
One of the questions that I remember is that she asked him, like, that a lot of people have been saying that to maybe combat the virus, you would do something called herd immunity. Do you know what that is?
No.
Basically, it's let everyone out, live about their life.
Right.
The young people.
Oh, right.
Then take precautions with the older community.
Right.
But everyone else go out. Let them get the virus, and then over time, because there's so many of them, they're gonna be pretty much get immune of the virus.
Oh, okay, I get it. So people, it's like exposure therapy.
Basically, kind of.
Yeah. And
so she asked that question. Said many experts saying that maybe herd immunity might be a good option, and asked him if he thought that was a good option. And I think that was a really good. Tough question, because if you answered yes, that would mean that you would be endangering more people, possibly, of dying.
Yeah.
And then if you answer no, then perhaps you're not listening to the experts, or maybe, or refraining from trying to find a solution for the virus. So
Right.
I felt like it was a tough question to answer, but he probably gave his best answer to that question, maybe
Mhm.
at possible. I think he said, we're always looking for a different variety of methods,
That's probably accurate.
and the solution cannot be worse, or should not
Would
be worse
than
the virus itself.
Right.
So we're looking at different options. I'm talking with the experts and stuff like that,
Right.
and we're looking for something that is like the best option possible, without endangering other people.
Right. Right. And yeah, no, when I was watching, I was like, these questions aren't easy, man. They aren't. But then I'm thinking, okay, so even if it's strategic for them to ask all these tough questions, are these tough questions just tough questions, or are these questions, in a sense, should they be tough questions for him? Because he's the president of the United States. And so if somebody has to ask questions like this, should these tough questions go to him, or should it go to maybe the experts? You know what I mean? Because, I mean, he gets debriefed by like a lot of things. You know what I mean? And you're asking this man about something specific right now. I think that's not the question where you have to like sit down and get more context about what they're asking and be able to make a better judgment with some kind of like analysis backing what this idea could possibly do. You know what I mean? What would be the effects on certain parts and certain, not communities, but in certain industries. It's probably going to change the lifestyle of certain people, and certain people will probably be interested in living a certain lifestyle, which can improve the economy. So maybe there are more people delivering food, more people doing these sort of things, and making sure all these other people are doing fine. But yeah, it definitely did seem like he was getting the tough questions, mainly because of how like in context those questions were kind of tough, but also it took him a while to answer, which makes me understand from what his reaction is that he didn't have the answer immediately, which is fine because they're not easy questions. You know what I mean?
I would agree with that. The only problem is that when you look at, you were saying like maybe because he's a president and should be answering tough questions.
Right.
Well, as he has said before, why aren't you asking tough questions to Biden?
Right.
And he would maybe become president, so he should be also asked tough questions.
Right.
But everywhere around, you see him, you're just asking him questions like he was a baby, he said.
Right.
You aren't really asking like tough questions on
Right.
policies and stuff. You're just basically asking him.
And this is
where
that shift into the media comes in.
Yeah.
Because the media, like I don't know what day it was, but so my Apple Watch gives off notifications of CNN news. Dude, I'm about to turn it off because CNN is really like every small headline I see has something to do with like things that are going wrong every single time. And I'm just like CNN needs to chill out with these they're just like dispersing articles left and right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the middle of things that are happening. And I'm just like, dude, just like, can y'all like relax? And then like I sent you the video of the
about the maps.
The maps. Yeah, the maps and the votes. And I think like the last 3 days I have seen the map of America like every single day. And I'm just like, look, I get it, this is really important, but like what are we supposed to be like? We're seeing so much of like this and that, a lot of pressure here, a lot of pressure now. I guess like this is the biggest thing to talk about, so this is what they're going to feed off, you know what I mean? But I'm not saying that I would rather see anything. I guess I'd rather see some other things being put out, but it was just like a lot, you know what I mean? And with that being said, as we transition to the second presidential debate, and I watched a little bit of that. I planned to watch it, but part of my decision to watch it or not watch it was based off the fact that like how interesting the first one went. So when the second one, I was like, I don't know if I should watch it. But then I watched a little bit, and I was a little more. I felt like I was spending good time listening, in a sense, because it was a little bit more organized. I was still a little bit surprised to the fact that they finally figured out maybe they can mute the mics, and I'm like, y'all couldn't mute the mics before. Who's like running this event that they didn't think of this soon enough?
Yeah, and they didn't even use it that much. I think they used it maybe once or twice. They didn't use it on Biden. They used it on Trump.
Obviously.
And I felt like it was a tactic that maybe scared both of them. So they kind of watched their time and didn't like really try to interrupt or anything.
Right.
Because they knew if they were like overexceeding their time or trying to interrupt someone, they would just be moving their mouth.
Right.
And you wouldn't hear anything.
Like you're watching a dubbed movie.
Yeah, but overall, yeah, it was a more coherent debate. Yeah. Everyone got their thought across.
And I think I got more like substance out of it.
Yeah,
this like is the valuable substance.
Yeah, this is the type of environment where you see a different kind of side of Trump, where this is the side that should have been like out there most, because he sort of controlled himself.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't like attack first with certain things.
Mm-hmm.
He tried his best not to interrupt, or if Biden maybe said something that probably bothered him,
he replaced it with facial expressions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And shaking his head and that stuff. But it shows you that he's capable of doing it.
Yeah.
But he just chooses not to. And I think that's the person he is.
Yeah.
He's just someone that just acts the way he wants to act.
Yeah.
And doesn't really care about other people's opinions.
Right.
Because he's just going to do him.
Yeah.
And if you get mad, then you get mad. Yeah. And if you don't, then that's fine as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And like as far as like having a person be the best, like being free to be their self, I think that's what Kanye West liked about Trump, is the fact that he was more, I guess, similar to him, Kanye, in the sense of like they like to say the things that come on their mind, whether it's like drastic or not. And then like you find out later, like as you're listening, there's more context to what they were saying. And then when you take that chance to listen to exactly what they were saying, then you get a better picture. I just think that the way they paint pictures for people to listen to them isn't what people are used to.
Yeah.
But they don't care about the fact that the way they're painting a picture isn't what people are used to. They want to keep painting that picture for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to pull up one of the highlights, I think, for the second debate.
Nice.
Let me see if I can. Oh, in the debate, I'm going to put it up here. But, so Biden, I don't know why, I guess he was looking at his notes.
Mm-hmm.
But the way he looks at it, sometimes you would see him and he would be like this. But the way the camera was on him, it felt like he was sleeping.
This was a sleepy Joe came out. He was
like, wait, is he sleeping or is he just looking at his notes?
I don't know. He's got some...
But I will tell you, go back. Before the plague came in, just before, I was getting is going to bring us together. We are on the road to...
He was about to sleep right there. Look at him.
And he wants to raise everybody's taxes, and he wants to put new regulations on it. Oil industry. Would you close down the economy?
Okay, this is the part. So they were talking about the oil and fracking.
I remember because you were talking about the New Deal. Yeah.
When there was first frost, to drive me to school, turn the windshield over, there'd be oil slick in the window. That's why so many people in my state were dying and getting cancer. The fact is, those frontline communities, it doesn't matter what you're paying them, it matters how you keep them safe. What do? And you impose restrictions on the pollutants coming out of those fence line communities.
Okay, I have one final
Would you
question.
close down the oil industry?
It's false.
Would you close down the
It's
oil
By the way, I would transition from the oil industry, yes.
Oh,
I would
that's a big
transition.
statement.
It is a big statement,
That's a-
because I would stop,
Why would you do that?
because the oil
This
industry.
You see how she said that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna replay it. He
Who?
said, so she asked, or Trump asked Biden if he would stop with,
Frag.
basically. And
And
Biden hadn't been answering that question his whole campaign.
Right.
He would say, I will answer it when it's the right time, you know. Or he said, once I've been elected, I will answer that question.
Yeah.
And then someone asked him, well, don't you think the voters or people need to know?
Right.
And he said, no, they don't need to know right now. Basically.
What? He's just like, nah, you're good.
He said, I'm not going to answer that question because the
What?
next day,
Why do they
that's
give?
going to be the headline. He said, people need to be thinking about and getting answers of what's happening right now.
Right.
But they're going to be focusing on that if I say my opinion on it, you know.
Right.
But I doubt maybe the Republican side of the media is going to put a headline like that. But I doubt the Democrat media
Right.
would go out the next day and say Biden supports fracking, you know.
Right.
They wouldn't do that. They
wouldn't.
try to ignore it, basically. But
If anything, they'll put it away.
It is a big statement, because I would stop,
Why would you do that?
because
when she says that, it felt like that was like an inner thought within herself.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's a Democrat and was saying like, why would you say that right now? Why? That's like something like Trump saying that's a big statement, because like Philadelphia, Michigan, all those states, I
Mhm.
think they do most of that stuff, like oil industry, fracking, fossil fuels, and all that stuff.
Right.
And Biden is basically saying that he's going to end that
Right.
and transition to like renewable resources.
Right.
So basically, he's going to kill everyone's jobs that are there, that are working in the fossil industry,
Right.
oil industries, and that
the oil
I think hurt
industry
his campaign a little bit.
significantly.
I see.
Here's the deal, but
That's
you
a
can't
big
do that.
statement.
Well, if you let me finish the statement, because it has to be replaced by renewable energy over time, and I'd stop giving to the oil industry. I'd stop giving them federal subsidies. You won't give federal subsidies to
I love when he
gas,
does that.
Excuse me, to solar and wind.
Yeah.
Why are we giving it to the oil industry?
We actually do
All
give it
right.
to solar and wind.
We have
That's
one
maybe the
final
biggest
question.
statement in terms of business. That's the biggest statement.
Okay.
Because
We have
basically
one
what he's
final
saying
question,
is he is
Mr.
going to
President.
destroy the oil industry. Will you remember that Texas? Will you
Okay.
remember that Pennsylvania, Oklahoma?
Vice President Biden, let me give you 10 seconds to respond, and then I have to get to the
Ohio.
Vice President Biden.
But that's where he got Ohio right there, I think.
But the point is, look, we have
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that what they, when I listen to them speak, and it's difficult because of the, I guess, in the amount of time that you're speaking to be able to cover a lot of context that we start noticing that are missing.
Yeah.
Because in that moment right there, Joe, after explaining that, and if this is actually true, I think I would say that, yes, we want to take away, I guess, the funding from the oil industry, but maybe we're willing to invest in transitioning from having those people that were working in those industries start working in these new renewable, I guess, renewable styled companies that we're probably going to develop and give them the ability to keep their job, but also now they're doing a job that would help the community or the earth or something like that. Like if that answer like that came out of Joe, that would be like, I think that would be, for me, I think that would be a full answer, whether it's real or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then, but it's like, reality is that people will probably lose jobs. Well, like, I guess whatever plan each person is presenting, somebody's either going to gain jobs or lose jobs. So if Trump is,
Well,
I guess,
both is going to happen.
right. if Trump is deciding to keep the oil industry going, I guess those people who had their jobs will keep their jobs. but then maybe there wouldn't be new jobs. But I don't know if those new jobs would balance out the people that are losing their jobs, or those people that are losing their jobs are going to transition to having these new jobs.
Yeah.
I think that's what
I think it would lose more than gain, because, you know, these people maybe have been working there for years.
right,
And then
With-
you're going to send them somewhere else and do different
right,
stuff, because I feel like working in that field, you're like in like hardworking conditions now.
right,
And if maybe you're doing renewable energy,
right,
perhaps you're dealing with like machines that are probably different from what you're used to.
right,
You're handling like maybe solar panels, the windmills,
right,
hydro plants.
right,
It's something that's different, and you probably won't have experience.
right,
And for people to just maybe grab you from here and then put you somewhere else, it's gonna be a really hard transition,
right,
and not everyone is gonna like it,
right,
and maybe not everyone is gonna be able to actually have an opportunity to transition. They'll
right,
just be let off their jobs because they're not gonna get any more funding
right.
for that type of work.
And that is that reality. I mean, it's difficult. I know companies know how expensive it is to train somebody. So you talking about if somebody has worked in that company or that industry for years, have to retrain them to be able to learn something. And I think for me, my further comment would be I think with that, this is where I'm thinking for the bigger picture of like the fact that we live in a country and we want to like keep it in a position that we can still use it. Is it worth having these people keep their jobs and still produce this energy, which is in effect creating more, if they say it does, creating more effects on climate change, because they still have these jobs and we still have these companies? Or would it be better, not better, but the other option, I guess, would be to have these people laid off, but then we have these new systems that could create energy, and it's just like it's not a win-win situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think this is something that you would have to work with a long period of time.
Yeah,
Right now, like the renewable resources like wind and solar, they're not really good.
right,
And even if we were to transition, they won't be as powerful to
power,
everything that we have right now.
right.
So I think they need to keep
I
doing
think-
whatever they're doing.
Yeah, I think it'll
and
be
introduced slowly.
right,
yeah.
right,
And get better technology.
and
yeah.
better technology, because I remember I started watching Down to Earth with
Oh,
Zac
yeah.
Efron,
Yeah.
and there was an episode that Iceland.
I
Was
think
it
it was
Iceland?
Iceland.
Yeah, it
where
was
they did
Iceland.
They had the
That little
blue
wall.
water.
The blue,
Oh, they had the wall where you push.
the wall. Yeah. So if you haven't seen this yet, is it really a spoiler alert?
Spoiler alert if you
Sort
haven't
of.
seen it. It's on
But
Netflix.
this show called Down to Earth, and it's hosted by Zac Efron and a guy that is traveling with him. I don't know his
funny
name.
because I don't remember his name either.
I don't.
But he was the core part of
Yeah.
the show as well.
Yeah, but this is a guy, I guess, not necessarily a life coach, but Zac. In this, just to give you a synopsis, Zac Efron felt that he wasn't making enough impact in community and not knowing much about what the world is about, because he was stuck in Hollywood making movies and making so much money. So this show is about him traveling the world and experiencing different countries, different cultures, different foods, and paying attention to how people are living, how they're living, which is different from every other, like, I guess, developed country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are some developed countries that he visits, but the way they approach living, eating, which includes eating, getting power, and I guess making money in a sense, is a little bit different. And
But environmentally friendly.
And the whole atmosphere of everything that all these other countries are on these in the show are, the whole concept is the fact that people are having a better quality of life, having things that most people would say aren't enough.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
what was your point of bringing that up?
What? I can't remember. Oh,
renewable energy that from Iceland, right?
The reason why I mentioned that is because that gives me that made me support the idea of the fact that the transition isn't going to be easy, but at least if we have the oil companies and introduce these ideas that I've seen from the show in a place like America, where it's definitely possible for them to be able to create these type of options, then it's going to make our life so much better and the quality of our life, because we don't have to spend so much money paying all these bills for the power that is created because it's so expensive. You know what I mean? It all ties in. Like we all have to spend money on things that we don't really want to spend, but I guess we need. And this is where it comes to that. And this is very off topic, but when Kanye asked how much is the earth worth on the podcast, and which we'll dive into, but that is a question that if you never thought about, because people are just harvesting the earth and making money out of it. And there's like the earth itself is so valuable that when you take things away from it and then you just sell it to somebody, it's just really stupid. Like whole concept is really kind of like nobody really, I guess most people don't think about that, but why do we have to pay for land when there's so much land?
Well, I guess in a sense, all these concepts have been created just to have some sort of control, and control of life in general, where there's going to be people that are greedy and they're probably going to want to take over so much land and then try to control it, and then perhaps they'll let you have some of it, but he's going to be like your master, or he's going to have power over you in some way. So these ideas have been placed to have more control and coherence within communities. Like money is, I think Kanye mentioned it, is really nothing. You know, it has no value really.
we give it value by how much we want it so bad.
Yeah, and I guess it's based off gold, but I guess the value of that increases and decreases throughout time in certain events. But in a sense, that general idea is just to bring out control within the society. Because without that stuff, perhaps we'll be overly greedy, or not really perhaps in control of our lives, or other people are going to have control of it. So it won't. This, I guess, is the best possible idea that we have right now of maintaining order in some way of, as you say, land, because the earth, you can't really put a price on it because it has so many things. It's a vast region.
It's so big.
Yeah, and then there's areas where you haven't even been before. And to put a price on it, like purchasing some land to build a house or a farm, it doesn't add up really, because you're not really actually knowing if it's actually worth that much, or if someone just put that because they felt like it. But in a sense, it's already been placed and we sort of agree with it. And we're all pretty much stuck in it, man. Like I sometimes I think about, like, we go to school and eventually it's most likely because we want to get a job and pay these bills. You know what I mean? But what if we had a life where we never had to pay bills? But then there was no point in making money, because the only reason we make money is to pay bills. That's what I was thinking as well, because I've thought about, well, what if everything was free? You know, we would go to the store. Perhaps there's a limit on something, on everything. So if you wanted to get like a new TV, perhaps you get a new TV, but they put a record and say you can get another TV, but in 5 years. You know, And
But
then,
that person that's about to purchase the TV probably works on a farm. And in connection, you can go get some free food from that farm. You know what I mean?
yeah,
but-
or in general, everything can be free.
Like, yeah, everything.
But the problem is that people won't. The problem is that we're not certain if there's going to be people out there that are going to work for free.
Right.
So if let's say like we want all this like technology to be free, so we can go out and get a new phone
Right.
just without paying, get food without paying. Well, who's going to be making that stuff? Who's going to be growing that stuff
Right.
for free? If we would need to have people that love doing these things
Right.
and would do it without any compensation. So they would be making it.
or not necessarily any compensation, but the compensation shouldn't be money. Maybe they should have the ability to improve their the quality of their life, or maybe they just feel like their quality of life is so much better because they're making food for everybody. You know what I mean?
It will be really hard, and I think it's something difficult. Maybe some people won't understand. But I think at that point, we're going to be, instead of valuing or giving value to money, we're going to substitute it for something else.
Yeah.
So how you were saying, perhaps I'm a farmer and I want the TV.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for me to get it free, I'm going to sort of trade.
Right.
But that's really like old times shit.
Yeah, but here it is. There's gonna be a abundance, and like it's old school. But maybe what if the old school was how we
The
should have
new
been? Yeah, but like what if the
I
old
doubt
school?
it.
What if the old school is the way that original idea should have been the way it should have been the entire time?
I don't think it works. It won't because
It won't because
there's gonna
we're
be
human.
Some people
There
that
will
are-
be some people.
No, there's gonna be some people that don't have anything to trade.
Or don't want to do anything trade.
Yeah, or perhaps they don't have resources, or they're living somewhere where even if they want to grow certain things,
Mm-hmm.
the soil won't let them grow those stuff. Maybe
Right.
you're in Vietnam, and all you can do is rice.
Right.
But there's other people that already have rice and don't need it. So how are you gonna be trading certain things
Right.
when all you have to give is rice? You know?
That is true.
I think the best way is everything free, be a limit to it. Once you get a certain thing, you can't have that same thing until a long period has passed. Only things that are like expensive.
Right.
With food, perhaps
No,
each
perishable-
week
perishable.
you get certain things, you know. You
Right.
get a limit of stuff.
Because I
that
guess
way we don't overeat.
right.
any
I
of
guess
that stuff.
yeah. We all know how much we can eat and how much we want to eat.
Yeah.
So I guess in the system would be so perfect in a way that we have this general understanding about like the effects of overeating and eating unhealthy, and people are already inclined to not inclined to the idea, but in a sense, it just makes sense to be able to like treat your body that way because you know how your body works. Not because somebody's telling you have to eat this way, but it's because you know if you eat this way, your body functions at the highest possibility that it can. That's what you want, anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but this is like something that if you lived in a perfect world,
Yeah.
but we don't. So
I know, man.
it's
Anyways,
gonna be really impossible to do that.
maybe somebody would take our idea and make it happen.
You could do it, but you have to do a fresh start everywhere, because if you out of the nowhere give everything for free, well, there's gonna be people who
realize
probably
that you
have a lot of money,
Right.
and all that richness that they have is going to be gone because
or they'll
won't really
take your
know.
free shit and then resell it.
Well, how are you going to resell it? It's free.
Somebody will figure out a way.
But then you lose control of the basic idea that you wanted to do.
That's what I'm saying. Somebody will just be like,
they'll
yeah,
just ruin it. Someone's going to be there and is going to ruin it.
yeah, for all of us. Anyways, that just took a whole turn.
Yeah, but I don't even know how we went there because of the renewable resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big statement that he said. and perhaps made him lose a few votes in certain states that have a lot of those jobs.
Right.
And I think Trump was really smart in like pointing
When
it out,
yeah.
saying like, you know,
You're gonna do
listen,
that.
you gotta listen.
Yeah.
These states, Texas,
Right.
Pennsylvania, Ohio, listen to the comments that my opponent is saying. Think about that when you're about to vote.
Right.
But although it was a good statement and thing to point out from Trump, you were like, I think, a week off from election day. So a lot of people had voted, so I don't think it had enough of an impact to secure him a win. Maybe it did a little bit of damage, but not as much as it could have done if perhaps the debate was maybe like 3 weeks before or something like that.
Right. And I mean, should we go into something else? Because I was going to talk about my reaction from hearing the results today.
Well, we're going to talk about just the election day,
Okay.
and then leading up to that.
Okay, so what election day was Tuesday. Funny story, dude. I went to the wrong place to vote. Obviously, because I just didn't look at the right address. I put in the wrong address. So I went to a different side to go vote, and I was telling them I'm at the right side. So they were, well, I'm telling them I'm at this side because the side I went to was closed. You know what I mean? Because I went to the wrong side either way. I went to two different wrong sides, actually.
Okay.
I went to one wrong side, saw it was closed. It used to be a location that I used to vote.
Oh, okay.
So when I went there and it was closed, the sign on that door told me to go across the street to the other church. So when I went there, I was there for about probably an hour. And then I realized I was at the wrong place. And then I left and went to go vote. But I think it was, I don't know if it felt different. I just went in to vote because I was like, this is the only time I have. And then when I got there, it was...
How long did you wait in line? Or was there a line?
There was no line.
Wait, what day did you go?
On election day.
Oh, okay.
So I went to the site. I went to the site that I was supposed to vote.
Where was that?
That was Church of the Good Shepherd Methodist Church, right across Beechcroft.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I
Okay.
know. I was like, I can't believe I didn't go there. I wasted a whole hour. I could have been doing something productive with. But anyways.
It was right there.
I know. It was right there. I was very disappointed in myself mentally. But anyways, yeah, so I voted and then I was like, yeah, I just voted, but is like this change that's about to come and I'm going to experience, I'm just going to have to experience it in the way that it's just going to come. You know what I mean? There's like, I think that whether you vote Democratic or I vote Democratic or you vote Republican or I vote Republican, when somebody goes into that position, something is going to change. You know what I mean? We just don't know which one's going to be either better or which one's going to be worse. And we're just taking...
And you will never know, really.
And you never know until...
No, you will never know
never...
let's say Donald Trump did win.
Right.
But we won't know what would happen those 4 years of Trump.
Right.
We will only know the Biden 4 years.
Right. Either way, we don't know how they're going to
Yeah, we don't know either how they're going to
Right. So then they're all like, so I'm like, okay, so yes, we have this ability to vote, but we're just voting based off what people are saying, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not enough. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think so.
It really isn't enough. And so, but then here I am saying it's not enough. Some people don't have the ability to vote at all in their countries because they don't have democracy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or
so,
like me, I can't vote.
Oh, yeah, you can't vote. Yeah,
So
exactly.
even if I supported a certain person,
Right.
I wouldn't be able to have the option to affect anything.
Right.
I can just only listen.
Right.
And that's it.
I found out the results today, and then I think my first initial reaction is I'm still going to be teaching tennis. So I think that it doesn't really matter to me necessarily, unless like these people are going to own up to the words that they're speaking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But either way, like in my line of job, I enjoy what I do, and I enjoy it like enough in a way that like if there was a cut in my pay or an increase in my pay, I'm still gonna enjoy teaching tennis. I might have more money to spend, but I enjoy the experience of what I'm doing with developing somebody, because I know that's more valuable to me than how much money I'm making from them. You know what I mean? When I teach tennis,
for sure.
when I teach tennis and I teach the kids how to hit the ball correctly and stuff like that, I want to see them do it correctly more than how much they're going to pay me every single time. So this is where I feel like my quality of life, I enjoy it enough that the idea of Trump being president again, or the idea of Joe Biden being president, the newer president, isn't going to change how I'm going to be as a person. You know what I mean?
This video I saw earlier, it kind of relates to what you're talking about, but in a different view.
It's
Hold on one second. Let me rewind.
72. Man, what are your thoughts? It's well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Telling the truth matters. Being a good person matters. And it's easier for a whole lot of people. If you're Muslim in this country, you don't have to worry if the president doesn't want you here. If you're an immigrant, you don't have to worry if the president's going to be happy to have babies snatched away or send dreamers back for no reason. This is vindication for a lot of people who have really suffered. You know, the I can't breathe. You know, that wasn't just George Floyd. That was a lot of people that felt that they couldn't breathe. Every day you're waking up and you're getting these tweets and you just don't know. And you're going to the store and people who have been afraid to show their racism are getting nastier and nastier to you. And you're worried about your kids and you're worried about your sister. And can she just go to Walmart and get back into her car without somebody saying something to her? And you spend so much of your life energy just trying to hold it together. And this is a big deal for us just to be able to get some peace and have a chance for a reset. And the character of the country matters. And being a good man matters. You know, I just want my sons to look at this. Look at this. You know, it's easy to do it the cheap way and get away with stuff, but it comes back around. It comes back around, and it's a good day for this country. I'm sorry for the people who lost.
I didn't see the full thing. I saw the beginning,
Right.
where he started crying and saying that it's good for these certain types of people now.
Yeah. People
And because you were talking about how you know that Biden has won, right?
Right.
But you know, I mean, I'm still going to be doing the same thing, really.
Yeah.
And when he's talking about this stuff, because I'm an immigrant and
Right.
I never felt attacked whenever Trump said certain things about my community or because I don't have proper documents. I lived about my days normal without any worry. He could say whatever you want.
Right.
But in a sense, like, he's not really saying it to me.
Right.
And is not constantly over my shoulder
Right.
telling me these things. That's just things that he had said and then people bring out constantly. But in general, it's not something that I think about and have it bother me
Right.
every day.
Yeah.
But he's making it sound like now because Biden has won,
Yeah.
I won't go through that if in fact I was bothered every day
Right.
because Trump was in office.
Right.
But it never did.
So to go off that, part of that ability to put yourself out of this, like, I guess, like mindset.
This mindset.
This mindset isn't easy because people because human beings have minds, they can be controlled.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So with that being said, I'm glad you showed me that, because I would tell my son that it don't matter. It don't matter.
You got a son.
I don't have a son, but if I had a son, I would tell my son, if the president of the United States was racist, you know what I mean? You're still going to be my son, and like, we're going to get through whatever you want to do in life. You know what I mean? Like, just because the president is racist doesn't mean we're not going to succeed. If anything, if the president is racist, that's going to motivate me to make sure I succeed and live a better life, and make sure that whatever he thinks of me, which is inaccurate in the first place, isn't going to affect how I emotionally feel.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, and this is where,
You think he was crying? For real?
I don't know if he was crying for real. I think he was crying for real. I feel like he is.
I felt like as he was going on,
Yeah.
it seemed more fake.
Oh.
As
I think he
went
was.
on.
I think
As
he
went on.
I think he was. I think he was crying for real.
Well, I think
I don't
he
know
was-
if he.
I
I don't
think
know
he
if he.
was
Meant,
crying.
I don't know if. I don't know. I mean.
I think he was crying, but I think he was over dramatic.
Yeah.
Like, he was emotional,
Right.
but I think
But-
because he knew he was live
Right.
and he knew he was giving his opinion,
Right.
he kind of unconsciously dramatized his emotions.
Right. And with that being said, you know, this is so. I mean, this is something that I think about too, because my dad has, and I don't. And this is where it's gonna get kind of interesting, because my dad has had a conversation with me, making sure I do everything possible not to get pulled over. You know what I mean?
You mentioned that.
And so I think about stepping out, thinking about analyzing that situation right now. Because of his fear of the fact that like a situation like that might happen, some of that gets internalized in me, in fearing that a situation like that might happen. Now, do I actually fear that a situation like that might happen and go really bad? Part of it is yes, but also, have I experienced a situation where I felt like it was going to go like that? No. So that's like kind of like when people talk about like the plane crash analogy, how
Plane crash?
plane crash analogy, like in a sense, there are plane crashes happening, period. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But people are still traveling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, in that sense,
Car crashes as well.
Right. I needed to remind myself that, you know, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, then things should go well. You know what I mean? In the ideal world. The only thing that can really change the situation is if both people in the situation do something or make some kind of act to make the situation change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where I've started getting better at being more in the present, because the only time I will probably have to worry about a cop pulling me over is if a cop pulls me over in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I shouldn't be spending time thinking about moments that a cop might pull me over, because of the fact that like I understand how the way you think connects to the way you feel, and the way you feel connects to the way you think. So then I'm creating these thoughts to make me feel this way, and then now this is how I feel now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not easy to be able to make that self awareness to separate yourself from what somebody is saying against you versus how you feel about yourself.
Yeah. That's
You know
before, when it was 2016, and as soon as Trump won, there was like a lot of Hispanics that we knew. They weren't like family members or anything, but we knew them, or we had like friends that knew these people as well. And as soon as Trump won, they literally left the country.
Right.
Because they were in fear that they were gonna get deported either way,
Right.
and I might as well leave now.
But how do you know you're gonna get deported
that's what I
until
was
you get
thinking as
deported?
well. And I was like, why are these people doing these things, or why are people thinking bad about Trump when he hasn't begun to do anything really?
Right.
It
They'll have
died.
to- yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why it died so quick. It was at 96.
I guess you got tired of our talk.
Yeah. But I don't know why these people were already judging like things that
I
he
mean, people
hadn't
were
been
crying
doing.
on my campus.
And I get he has said bad things.
Right.
And things that probably piss you off or I don't know, give you this feeling of sadness maybe. But he's just one person.
Right.
And perhaps he will empower other people to think these thoughts as well.
Right.
But let's just wait and see what happens.
Right.
And don't judge just because of what he has said, or judge him on his character, but not on what he's going to do in the future.
Right.
Because people have said stuff that were bad in the past, and then they change.
Right.
And perhaps they make certain comments, and then they learn that perhaps they're not like that.
Right.
You know, I don't know if I told you before when Mitchell, he told me something. He said to me, I thought that all Hispanics were like gangsters and like bad people.
Mm-hmm.
But you showed me that there are Hispanics that aren't like that.
You never told me he said that.
No.
But that's very important.
He told me that, and when he said that, I don't know, not when he said it, but as I'm thinking now,
Yeah.
and I've thought about it before.
Yeah.
It's like something that's a little bit emotional for me, but also like I felt like I made an impact in someone's life where I changed their like point of view about.
I love
certain
doing
groups of
that,
people.
man. That's one of the reasons why I went to the school that I went to for college.
Otterman?
Yeah. Not because what I have heard about what I know and I've heard about just like people in America, and like what I've heard about like the kind of environment that we're in and the things that we're talking about were not things that were productive. You know what I mean? And I wanted to be somewhere where people were trying to be productive. It ends up being a predominantly white institution.
Okay.
But I knew nothing about white people. The only thing I knew about white people was what black people were telling me about white people in a black school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Stereotypes.
right. So there was, and some of them were obviously funny. And as either side does things, and you're just like, oh, that's incredibly hilarious. You know what I mean? But I like in my friend group, it was me, and I'm black, and my other friend, Tyler, he's Jewish, and then my roommate, he's white, and my other friend Juan, who's usually with us, he's Hispanic, and then there are a couple other white guys. But whenever we went anywhere, there was no, there would be jokes and stuff like that, but it just worked out so well. You know what I mean? Even when the jokes were a little bit edgy, we just found this like feeling of like we're friends versus like, and
It's not a hostile
right.
environment.
I never like, maybe I don't like thinking about this, but there wasn't a moment, a lot of moments where I was like, am I the black friend in this group or am I their friend? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's a difference. You know what I mean? And I guess because I don't recognize what a black friend is, then I wasn't a black friend to them. You know what I mean? Because everything that we did, if we all enjoy doing it, then we will all do it. If we didn't want to do it, we didn't want to do it. Like if somebody in the group didn't want to do something, we would find a way to compromise and do something else that everybody wanted to do.
Okay.
And it was simple like that. You know what I mean? And then with that being said, that is a. I'm glad you mentioned that, because my goal is to expose people, is to expose myself to people that don't know who I am, not necessarily to change how they see about Black people or Africans or just people in general. I just try to be myself as much as possible, and I just realized that people just enjoy that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't wake up and then I think I want to be the blackest person ever. Or I want to act white, or I just act the way I act because I enjoy myself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so with that being said, that is a very emotional comment, and I've never heard you say that before. And but do you know why he said, like, what came up for him to say that? Because that's,
I don't know what. Because
people,
as we had
in school, people would tell me that he's racist.
Yeah, and so.
But I never believed that he was racist.
I never believed that either, but I knew he had probably some views against certain things, maybe because that's what the political field he was in,
right?
And maybe they had those views, or maybe his friends,
right?
Or
they talk about
he was so accustomed to a certain environment,
right?
Because he was teaching at Columbus City schools,
right?
So he basically built an idea that, well, these kids are like this,
right?
And I've experienced many kids like this. And they're going to be
here,
like this,
right? Working here, so they're going to be like this.
Yeah,
right.
And to see someone that's different from that group,
right,
of people, I guess it changed his point of view,
right?
But I don't know why he mentioned it, or what brought him to say that comment, or what kind of things I did different that made him see that. Because as I was going through that in the school, I mean,
it wasn't.
I was just, how you're saying, I'm just being me,
right,
and doing what I felt like I needed to do
on a daily basis.
Yeah, and it wasn't that I was putting on an act just to impress teachers or impress him specifically,
or
want him to change his view,
be a different type of Mexican.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was just,
but like who like, what is a different, like, I guess, I don't know, like this is where like media fills in these details about people that are not inaccurate. But if he has to say that, then he recognizes that he had a certain viewpoint about Mexicans. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then which makes you recognize that the way you behave, I guess, is so, I guess, different from what he has known, that he feels he's compelled to mention the fact that, oh, you different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I never forget that moment and that comment he made, because it was something that really struck me,
right,
and caught me off guard, really. But
so
that's why I don't know, since a lot of people hated him, mm-hmm. and like made fun of him, but I never really understood why, or the reason for it, really. He was strict,
right?
But I mean, that's how he is. I mean, I know you want everyone to be chill and fun and everything, right. But not everyone is like that,
Right.
He's just being himself as well,
right?
And if you don't like it, I mean, I didn't think it was necessary to bother him a lot. It's like trying to poke at a lion,
right?
The entire time, he's gonna probably eat you.
Yeah.
So why are you doing that? Causing that?
Because it's funny.
Yeah, it's probably funny.
It's just funny for them.
Yeah, it's just funny. I mean, even I would laugh when they would call him Dewey.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was probably one of my favorite teachers throughout high school.
I mean, learning math was easier in his class than ever learned math anywhere else. I mean, this is where I talk about my transition into like the American school system and how I guess I figured it how to do it really well. because like I struggled in math in middle school back in Ghana, and once I started school in Beechcroft in Columbus, I'm just like, this is not that hard. Like I could have figured. I don't think like sometimes I think about it. If Mitchell wasn't there and I opened up the textbook, I would have figured it out.
I think we ended up doing that.
Yes, we did that.
Because we were
ahead
by so many chapters.
We were ahead in chapters in the class that like and then so I remember because one time I went to the board to answer a question and then I answered it in two ways. One way is the one we've been learning. The other way was another method to be able to get the same answer, which was faster, but in a different chapter. And then I put it on the board, and then he looked at it and he was like, "That's not wrong, but we're not there yet." And I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah." And then I remember I erased it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, my bad." But in a sense, it's just like that's where I was just like, you know, he's helping and he's doing as much as he can. But now that I remember it too, it's just like we could have figured it out, and we figured it out.
Yeah,
there was a routine.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
you just need to go in the book, really.
Yeah,
and that's like college as well. Because
yeah,
if you don't understand the professor or if you didn't get something, just look in the textbook,
right? Yeah. It's so strange, but no, that's I think that. You know, when we've had a conversation about what's really going to change the world, and you said it's going to be love, and I believe that because you like all people that are either good or bad have experienced a form of love for something.
Yeah.
Bad people love doing something.
Or they lack love, which leads them to do acts of hate.
Right. Acts of hate. You know what I mean? So really, I think love is the answer. Because when you love somebody, hey, you just get like too consumed with who they are that a lot of things just like become very they're not necessarily in the picture that you're looking at. Your picture is that what you're picturing with your eyes is different when you're in love with somebody versus when you're not. You see a lot more things, you know what I mean? So I feel like, you know, eventually people understand that loving people is going to trump what they think about them. You know what I mean? Like if you love somebody, you don't care about what they do or what they think. You know what I mean?
No, that's what I mean, that's what I try to achieve. And like even before Trump went to office, I never hated him with the comments he said. There was some comments that were obviously awful,
right?
Or actions that he did were awful.
Mm-hmm.
But I only saw those after he had done them through like Facebook and stuff. I never was watching like the news channel while he was giving a speech,
right?
And see it like live.
Right.
But even if he had seen it live, he's a person with his own opinions, and perhaps he said him in a wrong way, but he's a person, and persons make mistakes, and I shouldn't judge him by that or judge him as a person for future events.
Right. You know, I think as human beings, and this is where dive into a little bit of ego, we all make a lot of effort to try to be right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's one of our downfalls as human beings. Like before I came here, I was talking to a guy who was really religious at my work, at my job. And after we went back and forth about certain things, and I was telling him certain things didn't make sense. And then he couldn't reason with me because of the way his thought process works. His thought process works in a process where everything I'm saying, if it's not related to God, then it doesn't make sense to him.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then after I left, I was like, that was so pointless because I just spent my time, and I just realized I was trying to do exactly what he was trying to do. I was trying to be right, and he's trying to tell me what he feels is right. But I don't care. I really don't care if he's right or wrong. A whole lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my ego wants me to be right about what I'm saying to him. But at the end of the day, I realized that I'm going to keep doing whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not going to affect you.
He made a comment about, like, he said, what do I think about gay people? And I was like, I love gay people. You know what I mean? I've studied human sexuality in school. So I understand how attraction works. But in a sense, he told me that he doesn't like the way gay people behave.
In what sense?
And I didn't go into it because I didn't really want to know, honestly speaking. But
because there's some things that bother me, not because they're actually gay. It's when they like pretend to be something. You know, when, like, let's say you were gay, right? But you don't talk normal.
What do you mean?
You pretend to talk at a higher voice.
Oh,
that kind of bothers me. I don't know why. But in general, like, the idea that you like the same sex,
yeah,
like, I could care less, really.
yeah. So, but like, see, that's pretty simple to understand. But here was my response when he's like, he doesn't like the way gay people behave. I just told him, gay people don't care about what you think about how they behave. The gay people are gonna do what gay people want to do. Like, if I'm gay, I don't care about what you think about how I'm behaving. I was thinking about this. I feel like gay people have like so much confidence. You know what I mean?
Now in this era, yeah.
Yes.
But beforehand, probably they
but I feel like if I was gay, I'll have so much confidence in myself, because why not? Otherwise, I'll be destroying myself mentally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I told him, gay people don't care about what you think. And being gay isn't only about sexuality. I think that, and this is something that troubles me when people talk about gay people. They talk about gay people like all gay people do is like have sex as humans.
Okay.
Everybody has sex. They just do it in a way that they want to do it. And they enjoy it. I could never conceptualize how I would enjoy that, but it's not my thing.
Yeah.
It's not for me to find out, or doesn't matter to me if somebody's trying to find out what they want. Let people find out what they want, and if they don't want it, they probably won't do it again.
Yeah.
It's like that simple.
And what do you say?
I didn't tell him that.
Okay. Told him.
No, I just told him that, first of all, gay people are going to do whatever gay people are going to do. And then I tried to talk to him about like human sexuality, how sexuality is fluid in a way that you can develop attraction for somebody if you're a male, and develop attraction for another male, but you can lose that attraction and develop an attraction for a female. That's like real. It like people, because attraction, you have to understand the way attraction works. Attraction, an example of attraction is of me just walking into the store, and then like maybe I see a girl do something, but sometimes it's like really stupid, but you just find it like not exciting. You find it attractive because I don't know, like in a way, like you just find that thing that the person is doing attractive. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what attractiveness is. So if you find it attractive in the way somebody's behaving, that's what you're attracted to.
Yeah.
But people behave in all types of ways. You know what I mean? Like you might feel like, I'm never going to be attracted to this person. Then you just see them do something different, and it's like, well, that girl's kind of attractive. And then you're just like, now you develop an attraction to them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's like, that is the basis of it. So, and obviously if I wish, I don't know if it wouldn't worth it to be explaining it to him how I'm explaining it right now, because I feel like he would just turn around and just tell me, by the grace of God, something is gonna, some blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Because that would be interesting, just to, even if it was pointless in the end, I think it would just be fun to have his point of view.
Right.
Whether he's right or wrong, because he's just expressing his thoughts.
Right.
We would just have to find a way to like
direct his thoughts, because
and sort of guide him through them, and where he doesn't feel like he has to prove something that's right.
Right.
He just needs to say things.
I just found myself talking to him, trying to prove things that are right and wrong. And I just realized, as soon as I walked out of the building, I was like, that was so pointless. I should have just when my ego took over, and I was like, I feel like I need to say something, keep talking. And then I kept talking. And after I left, I was like, that was a waste of my time, man. And this is not the first time. But anyways, with that being said,
you were talking about love.
Oh, the love. So anyways, if we're all like, we all have some kind of basis of understanding how to love something.
Mm-hmm.
Like even an artist loves the things that they make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can translate that to anything that you do. So I feel like what is really going to help humanity is love. When it comes to like religion and God, right now my position is that I don't want to find God.
Okay.
I think that if
I
God,
don't think you will.
I don't think I will, but also if God wanted to be found, he would have been found already. If God wanted to reveal himself to us, he would have already. You know what I mean? And because he hasn't, I'm not going to spend the rest of my life trying to wait till he reveals himself, because other people have waited already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
we're not going to play like a fantasy game.
No, I mean, it's what
it's unproductive.
Right. What I'm experiencing right now is all I can really understand. Us talking right now. If I leave here and I go home and start going through my routine of what I'm going to do for the rest of the night, then that's what I'm going to do. And that's all I'm going to be able to control. And that's what I feel like people should focus on. I think that the idea of people focusing on themselves is negative in society. People make it seem like you're selfish because you're working on yourself.
Yeah.
But everybody needs to work on themselves so that when they go out and experience life with people, they don't do dumb shit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, everyone should have love. Coming back to what we were talking about with Biden being the president.
Right.
I don't think it's official.
Right.
But it's most likely he's going to be it.
Right.
Unless some crazy thing happens where somehow some legal things happen and Trump ends up. That would be
very interesting. But like, even if that happens, man.
Well, because I don't know. I don't think it's like fraud. He's saying like fraud, right?
Right.
But I don't know what state it was, and I don't know what position this person had. It was a lady, and she was saying that the system that they were using to count the votes had like a glitch.
Oh, I read about it. Somebody posted it on their Snapchat.
It was a glitch, and 6,000 votes that were supposed to be for Trump were counted as Biden. And a lot of states were using the same system. So I think they will have to recount. Like not like normal, like personal. Right.
Physically.
Yeah, physically count them. Not using like a machine or anything.
I guess 2020.
And I think there were some machines as well. I don't know if they didn't specify. I don't know. Did they tell you that you needed to use a pen?
The one I went to, I had never seen this machine before. They were brand new machines with a stylus, and they give you a stylus when you walk in. I mean, obviously because of the virus, they don't want people touching, and then they have to clean it over. So they give every single person that walks in to vote a stylus to be able to use, and you can keep it. Actually, I kept mine, and you can use it to touch the screen, navigate the screen, and when you're done, a sheet comes out, a long sheet. It's like a huge, like a CVS receipt for the visuals. It's like a long sheet, and it tells you all the people that you selected for whatever presidential candidate, and then moves down towards like all the other important things. And then once you get that sheet, you take it over, and there's a machine that collects those receipts, or everybody's long receipt, and then that is how they keep.
Count?
No,
Not count.
they
Just keep record.
they I guess is they keep record because it doesn't tell you right there like Trump, Biden. You put it in your sheet and then it's like, oh, Biden went up 1 vote. Oh, Trump went up. It doesn't work like that. You just put the sheet in there and then they say pretty much it's like they're gonna count this as a vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there were some places where they like used a pen and didn't use like a screen. And some people used marker, or maybe perhaps it was when they did the mail-in ballots.
Yes, yeah.
So
the mail-in ballots you received a lot earlier than early voting.
Which I don't know how they're counting those late when they receive them earlier.
Oh, that's a lot of there's a lot of shit going on with this damn election.
Yeah, so I think there were some instances where they used marker or Sharpie. So whenever they put it in the machine, we couldn't read the vote.
What?
Because so the marker would bleed.
Oh.
So I guess it wouldn't recognize it. So I think they should just physically count them, everything. Yeah. It's, I guess, more efficient maybe to use a machine, but perhaps maybe the coding is wrong, programming is wrong, maybe something goes wrong.
Somebody can hack it if it's a computer.
Yeah, and then something goes wrong, then you're going to have to literally do the same thing.
There goes 6,000 votes for Sleepy Joe right there. Okay, so should we transition into finishing up on, or do you want...
we can just say that the things maybe you're expecting.
Well, like I said, my first reaction finding out Joe won, it's like I'm still going to be teaching tennis. I would like for me to be not to be heavily taxed by how much money I'm making, and maybe if I am getting taxed as much, possibly give me the option to see where this money is going to. I think I would like to see that. Apart from that, I think Biden campaign talks about uniting America.
Yeah.
And if that's true, I want to see how he's going to do that. Because that's something. I want to
see what his definition of unite is.
Yeah, what his definition is of uniting is, because as we just talked about it, love is what we believe is going to be able to heal humanity and keep us coherent. So is he going to love racist people is what I'm asking. Not in a way that like, oh, I love racist people, they're great, but in a sense that to understand that like these people are racist, and he's going to have to approach it in a way that I guess
he should be like, he should say, I think he even did on a post on Twitter, he was saying kind of like, I will be an American president.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if you voted for me or not.
Right.
I will serve you.
Right.
Serve the American people.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if you're racist. You're a human and a citizen of the United States of America. And perhaps your views have been misguided through circumstances that only you know.
Right.
But we together as a country will fight together and overcome these views for the future.
That's well put.
Yeah.
I should have said that. I should have said that. But
Trump should have said that.
Yeah, Trump should have said
so Trump, I don't know why he doesn't say certain things like this. Because I feel like he has opportunities like this. Even with the virus. There was a point, I think, in the second debate, because they talked about the virus a lot. So he said, it's not my fault that the virus came here.
Right.
It's China. He was waiting. But he said, it's not Joe Biden's fault either.
Right.
This is something that came here and it was out of our control. And he should have emphasized this more, like beforehand when the virus came. He should have maybe did a press briefing or something and talk to the people, because that's what he lacked. He didn't do that.
Right.
During that time, he wasn't really saying something to sort of reassure the American people that we were gonna fight through this together,
even if it's not completely here yet.
Yeah,
Right.
or even if it's already doing
Here.
damage,
Right.
or perhaps you're not really gonna do that,
Mm-hmm.
but you want to give out some sort of positive mindsets. So you should have been saying, like, you know, I'm for the Republican Party, but in these circumstances we have to work together. So putting our political views aside, I will talk with Democrats, the experts,
Mm-hmm.
and we will come up with a plan to fight the virus together. Whether you hate me or love me, we have to like work together on finding a solution.
Right.
That's what he should have said. Something that of that like idea, just to reassure us and to create a sense of,
Even if shit was gonna be really bad.
Yeah, even if like the same outcome was gonna be with
yeah.
the 200 and some dead people.
Right.
Even if you would have just said that, he would have probably been
Would be
reelected.
reelected because no one can. They can use that or coin
Yeah.
that term. That
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't judge somebody that is calling for unity,
Right.
and then if perhaps the Democrats didn't want to work with him,
Yeah.
then he has something to like say against them
Right.
when it's a debate.
Right.
Like, you're blaming me that we didn't do a good job with the virus, but in the beginning I wanted to work with you guys, and you guys, the Democratic Party, didn't want to work with me
Right.
because I was a Republican.
Right.
He would have gotten a lot of votes.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, I can say all these stuff, and he can probably say all these stuff because things have happened already.
Mm-hmm.
But in that instance, nobody knew anything,
Yeah.
really. But yeah, moving forward, I mean, the same as you, I'm going to be doing the same things, living my life as nothing has changed.
Yeah.
Perhaps the only thing that maybe might be a benefit is that Biden said that, because I have DACA, he said that he would try to make a path to citizenship for people that have DACA.
I mean,
So that would be a really good bonus. But either way, you know, it's not something that is in my mind all the time.
does that what will be the biggest change in your life if you became a citizen?
What would be the biggest change? I think it would be freedom, because, you know, I can't go to Mexico and maybe see family,
Mm-hmm.
or I can't go. Well, I can go to these places if I wanted to take a vacation to like France,
Mhm.
Italy, Japan. I can go. I ain't coming back.
Oh, it's like,
coming
here's the
back.
door to leave. Where's the door to come in? There's no door to come
Yeah.
in.
So I get more freedom, and then I get more opportunities. So if I wanted to purchase a house, I have more options of getting a loan,
Right.
of different types of banks and stuff like that.
Right.
Or if I wanted to apply for certain things, I have more opportunities to do that because I'm here, you know. I can vote, right?
Right.
And
Oh, for sure.
And have a say, or have something to like contribute to. That way I feel like I'm sort of having an impact on maybe an important race.
Right.
Certain stuff like that. Also, like, you know, if I wanted to, I can just find a person who's a citizen, and I can just marry them, and
Right.
then I'll get papers, you know. But as how I view things in life, and my beliefs, and how I view things, I don't like doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because first of all, it's not like, because I think you're not supposed to do that. Like,
It's illegal.
It's illegal.
Yeah.
So in a sense, I don't care about that part. It's more that like being with someone that I don't love.
Right.
And perhaps that person does love me, but I only want the citizenship.
Right.
And so I'm doing a disservice to that person.
Right.
And doing a disservice to myself because I will be unhappy.
Right.
And I will make her unhappy.
Right.
So what is the point really of obtaining the citizenship if I'm not going to be happy?
Right.
You know? So certain things like that are like the positives of Biden administration. That is if he goes through with his word. We don't know because Trump said he was going to end DACA.
Right.
And I mean, he's almost going to be out of office and I still have my DACA.
Right.
So, you know, we'll just see what happens. Either way, that's just going to be a bonus. If it doesn't happen, I'll still be doing the same thing, really.
Right.
And if my time comes that I would need to leave for some reason the country, or I'm forced to leave,
right,
you know, it's fine.
Right.
I'll
and
doing whatever I'm doing.
With your like amount of life experience and understanding how to create opportunities for yourself, I can understand why you wouldn't fear the fact that you have to leave. I think one of the hardest things would be to be detached from the people you know here. But I think that
and the lifestyle. But you know, I think people find themselves in situations where they have to start their life over, and if you approach it in a certain way, you will succeed in what you want to be, because success is defined by what you want. You know, as much as we get influenced by what the success is from the media, from our parents, from friends, on the fact that you have a nice car, have a nice house, have a nice phone, and all that stuff. Those things, as we both know, don't necessarily satisfy your happiness. You know what I mean? And I've studied that when I was in school, and you've experienced that in life, and know that with taking the year off social media, it was a reinforcement to the fact that these things aren't going to make the quality of your life the best. Yeah.
Right.
I guess we're gonna conclude on politics stuff.
Sure.
Well, at least for like these guys. But, before that, I found this. Kamala put this video.
Right.
The screen or my computer died, so we're gonna play it on the phone on the speaker. But
right.
This like a campaign ad. I just want to see your opinion about it, and maybe we can talk about it.
Right. So this is a equality versus equity video.
Equality suggests, everyone should get the same amount. The problem with that, not everybody's starting out from the same place. So if we're all getting the same amount, but you started out back there and I started out over here, we can get the same amount, but you still don't be that far back behind me. It's about giving people the resources and the support they need so that everyone can be on equal footing and then compete on equal footing. Equitable treatment means we all end up at the same place.
So she's saying that she would prefer equity versus equality. And I learned this when I was in school, equity. So when you put it up, it just clicked in my mind. But this is where it kind of comes back to quality of life a little bit, in a sense. And I'm going to try and tie it into it, because people who are fighting for equality are fighting for a certain type of life they want. You know what I mean? And with that being said, people's quality of life can be determined by how people tell them what the quality of their life should be. Does that make sense or no? No. Like, in a sense, like, the quality of my life right now is perfect as I want it to be. You know what I mean? But if I was fine and I felt like a need to be like equality. Like if I was fighting for equality and they're going to give me the same equal thing, maybe that's not what I want. You know what I mean? Equality isn't going to sustain me.
Okay.
It's what I think she's what she's saying. And I can understand that, and how equity would be better, in the sense of the fact that
How would equity be different in that situation?
Getting what you need to the extent of what you need versus getting the same amount. You know what I mean? Like if we both walked into a store, you know what I mean? And it should be, in a sense, if I want to get 10 water bottles, I should be able to get 10 water bottles. But that's because I need 10 water bottles because maybe I have 10 kids.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If you walk in and you buy 10 water bottles and I buy 10 water bottles, and then you go ahead and use only 2 water bottles and then leave the other 8 there, then your value of what you have can change a little bit because you have abundance of it. Does that make sense or no?
Yeah, but let's say in that, I don't know, maybe I can find something in that situation.
Right.
Perhaps I have 2 kids.
Right.
And I only needed those 2 water bottles.
Right.
But I wouldn't need to buy 2 water bottles 5 times. I could just have 8 backups, and whenever my 2 kids needed them,
Right.
I would have those extra water bottles to give them.
I mean, that works too. So I guess in conclusion, it should be able to. It's difficult to answer because I think most people fear the word equality. It's because the idea of equality is the fact that you and I are going to have the same shit. You know what I mean? But you and I don't want the same shit.
Okay.
So I think it works better in a sense of like, what you want, you should try and get what you want. And you should try and understand that what you're seeking should be able to cover what you want and get that. You know what I mean? This is where I'm talking a little bit more about the quality of life and like happiness.
Okay.
I think people should learn to be happy with how much they have versus how much they don't have.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, because once, like, as much as I work and I make money, the amount of money I make is pretty, like, I think it's pretty significant. The only reason why I don't think it's like significantly good is because of how much taxes is being taken off my check.
You need to have kids.
Right. Right. Then I'll be like, damn, this is really hitting me. But we all grow up and we get influenced in the idea of having abundance. And I think that, like, we shouldn't be striving to make things equal or in the equity way. Like, if like some of the equity way works out really well, but also it doesn't work out well in a way. And I can't figure out why, but I'm about to think about it.
Do you think that was the message she was trying to put, or do you see another message that she was trying to imply? I
mean, if it's a political campaign, she's probably implying that people who support equality think a certain way about like how America should be versus like how people who support equity think about a certain way how America should be.
So like if people are listening in that ad, when she mentions equality, so they're about to go up a mountain and they both get the same amount of rope.
Right.
But one of the other persons is like lower on the ground. So even though they have the same rope, the other guy who's lower can't reach the rope because he's lower than the other guy.
Right.
So he's never going to go up the mountain.
Right.
And when she said equity, it means that there are stuff that influence in his life or are given to him in life that are going to help him be able to reach the rope
to
go up the mountain as well.
Right.
I thought about it, well, in a different way, because first of all, I'm kind of like what would you call it? A literal person.
Yeah, I am that sometimes, but then I realized.
So when I saw the ad and I saw that they both got the same rope, but the guy was at the bottom and the guy was at the top, I was like,
That's not
so
the
why doesn't the guy just climb up top?
Oh, that is hilarious. That is hilarious. I think what she's saying is that there are certain things that are not allowing you to be able to.
Yeah, I understand what
Yeah.
she's saying, but like I was seeing the cartoon. I was like, this guy can just climb up and be in the same level as him,
Yeah,
and then that way he can reach it.
but I guess he just can't climb up.
Yeah, I guess they're telling him these things in life are against him.
Yeah,
So just sit there and wait until we give you something. That way, once we give it to you, you can finally achieve success.
right.
And I think that's sort of like a communist view, because
Well, what is communism?
communism is an idea where they're trying to have everything and everyone have the same thing,
Right.
same amount of things. But truthfully, it kind of backfires because everyone has a poor quality of life, while there's certain people that are getting like better stuff, even though it's supposed to be all the same. Like China, I think, is communist,
Mm-hmm.
a country. So these people are oppressed and they're getting like the same treatment and same like food sources. But there's obvious that there's a hierarchy. So there's other people that are getting better stuff, and the guys who are down below, they will never get like the good stuff because everyone's sharing the same thing.
Right.
So it's when, if you come here and let's say that drink over there,
Mm-hmm.
that's our drink, so we have to share that.
Right.
So whatever is in here is also yours.
Mm-hmm.
And if I go to your house, that's also mine.
Right.
So that's not really fair because all these stuff I probably worked hard for.
Right.
But you're getting them for free.
Right.
And then if I go to your house, you're going to be like, well, I worked hard for these stuff.
Right.
Why should I give you the stuff I worked hard for just for free
Right.
when you don't deserve it?
Right.
So that's what I saw in that video. That person that couldn't reach the rope was given like free stuff, right?
Right.
And because he like even crawled up like a ball, like he was sad.
Right.
And then as soon as they gave him like a boost up,
Yeah.
he grabbed the rope and went up
Right.
and reached. He said, Kama said that equity means that everyone reaches the same place.
Right.
That's the basic idea of communism. Everyone is equal and everyone's going to be in the same place.
Right.
Everyone's going to be poor.
Right.
And but that's not the reality.
Right.
The reality is that everyone is going to be poor, and then these people up here are going to be rich.
Right.
While you're suffering.
Right.
And in life, nothing is the same.
Right.
You're going to work hard, and I'm going to work the same way that you're working, but we're not going to reach the same place.
No.
Perhaps I don't have luck in life, and I'm not going to be as successful, but you are, and you're going to be, let's say, have more money, right? Just for a lame example.
Mm.
That's not how life works. I can't, just because I put the same amount of work ethic as you, doesn't mean I have to have the same rewards as you.
Mm.
Because that's not how life works.
Right.
And it will never work that way. Sometimes life is unfair and you get dealt cards that you have to work through.
Right.
But those things are going to teach you certain things.
Right. Okay, I
And-
see the point you're making.
But you shouldn't be there expecting people to give you stuff
Right. So this
to
is
reach the same place.
this is where I'm gonna go a little bit further on that, on the fact that I realize it now, that video was pushing the narrative of not empowering people who found themselves in situations where they, I guess, they feel like they're not getting enough resources, to not think about ways to overcome that, and how life teaches you that getting, like, overcoming certain things like that helps you develop and become a better human being.
Yeah.
So I guess what they're doing is you're robbing you of the chance of going through the real life and messing shit up and figuring shit out and then eventually making it work.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why when I see the video, and I mean, we laughed, but literally, if that person just maybe looked around his surroundings and thought of a way of getting up without needing,
right,
or waiting, because you could be
So-
waiting there
so-
forever and not get
right.
anything.
So now this is where it comes to, like, they're defining people's they're trying to push people to try and strive for the same level of success. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to put people on the same platter and make people be successful at the same rate. But we all know that everybody's quality of life is different. And you should be striving to find your quality of life versus trying to have the same quality of life as your neighbor. You know what I mean? So the video was a little bit shorthanded, and it's a little, I guess, I'm thinking, I'm thinking right now that video was not enough. You know what I mean? It didn't do enough good to teach people the reality of life in a way that we're going to experience it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People, I think about this all the time, and I have to keep remembering and keep reminding myself that my life is great. And I pay attention to the things that I know I enjoy about my life to keep reminding me that, like, I have a good life. You know what I mean? I work for people that make a huge amount of money, but all of them want to play tennis as good as I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think about that, and I'm like, they want something that I have so bad that they're willing to pay for it. That makes me remind me, not necessarily, like, it reminds me to not chase money so hard that I'm going to have to pay somebody that much money to learn something like that. You know what I mean? Like, my plan is to be able to take over my parents, because my dad took care of me really well as I am right now. He still takes care of me. So I want to be able to take care of him. And once that's done, you know, that gives me, not saying that I wouldn't be doing things for myself also, but that's one of my main goals in life. And once I'm able to achieve that, I think it opens up an opportunity for me to experience life a little bit more in how I want it to be. You know what I mean? So, people have to be conscious of watching videos like this and not thinking deep enough. You know what I mean? Because if you watch it like that, you just be like, hey, equity sounds great. I'm going to just wait. If I'm in this situation right now, I'm going to let equity intervene and make my life better.
Yeah. I'm going to wait and have the government give me stuff.
Yeah.
To succeed.
Right.
Because in the end, everything, I'm going to be just like that guy over there.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why are they trying to push people to try and be like that guy?
I don't know.
That guy hates his life. Like, what? Some of them do.
Yeah, there's some people that will. And, like, perhaps that guy climbed up the mountain really fast.
Yeah.
And got there and was like,
man, this
I'm
mountain,
just alone right here.
Yeah. This mountain sucks.
Yeah. Or perhaps, like, I want to be on that other mountain.
Yeah.
I'm going to climb down and jump another mountain.
Yeah.
And then the other guy's not even gotten up the first mountain.
Yeah.
Because he's just
waiting. Like, what? No, I get it. It's hard to be able to analyze and think deeply about stuff like this.
Yeah.
Because with the way they present the ad, it's so, like, straightforward and very simple. But the simplicity of it is the way they try to keep your mind a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was the last thing I wanted to mention about.
That was good, because that made me think a lot harder than I usually think about those two concepts I never
Oh, okay.
thought about that deep about those two concepts until you mentioned it. Especially today, because today we've been talking a lot about how certain things that we see, we internalize. Like how, I don't know what his name was when he was crying.
Something Jones.
Some Jones.
CNN guy.
Yeah, CNN guy was crying because he feels like Joe Biden's America is going to get rid of all the fears he had.
He can tell his children that,
Yeah,
I don't know, their character matters, he said.
right,
And the things you say matter.
right.
The truth matters.
And I'm not saying he's wrong to say any
No.
of those things, but you should be able to do those things with or without a racist president.
Yeah, even it doesn't matter if Obama won again or
Yeah.
Obama was in office and then Trump is going to be in office. You still shouldn't be giving these lessons to your kids either way.
Yeah.
About life. Just because one person is in charge
Right.
doesn't
mean that
you
they're in
can't-
charge of your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, he's not there telling you, don't tell your kids that character matters. Like, Trump
Yeah.
is not saying that.
Yeah.
He's not there right there, like pointing a gun to you.
Right.
But we can talk about Kanye now.
Finish on a
2024.
Yeah, so
President
as I mentioned
Kanye
earlier,
West.
we both listened. What was it 3 hours?
It was almost 3 hours. It was, I think, like 2 hours and 54.
Right. So
Somewhere around there.
as we record our own podcast, we like to listen. Mario actually listens more to Joe Rogan than I do, but we're both big fans of Kanye West, as I mentioned earlier on in this podcast, and we enjoyed listening to him talk about multiple things, multiple ideas. Him explain the way he thinks, in the way he explained the way he thinks.
The purple mattress blows memory foam out of the bed.
Oh boy.
Sorry.
Why did it start with that though? Anyways.
I don't know. Oh,
Uh,
why did you tell you why?
what?
So because we moved,
Yeah.
so I got a new bed frame, a
Oh, you
bigger
just-
size.
Yeah.
So I was looking for mattresses.
Oh, obviously.
And so because I was looking for so many mattresses, and I keep getting the same purple mattress ad,
Yeah.
and
They're on to you, man.
I don't know why the volume moved.
Anyways, Kanye West went into a deep expression of the things that matter to him. He goes into talking about the music industry, talks about his plans as a as they call a leader. He likes the term a leader better than the term president. From what is that accurate to say right now?
I think so.
Yeah.
But whenever Joe Rogan asked him questions, he would say, like, at first he said, if you become president.
Right.
But then I guess he kind of internally said to himself, like, oh, wait, I'm speaking to Kanye.
Kanye.
So if I say that,
Yeah.
I'm kind of creating a negative vibe.
Right.
So he
said
changed. He
when
said, when you're
you're
president,
Right.
what will
Or
you
you
do?
do.
Or what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah. What are your thoughts about this? What are you going to do
He
different?
did really good, Joe.
Yeah,
I think.
like see, that's listening to that gives me a better idea of the fact that he's really good at holding conversations because he knows how to lead the person that he's talking to to be able to go where he needs to go, and then if there's a moment he needs to interject to clarify, I think he finds his moments really well. But one thing, a couple of things that stuck with me, a lot of things stuck with me, and I'm gonna have to.
What do you want to? I'm trying to like confine it.
Well, I really enjoyed his explanation of education and this his idea of how learning, how he teaches his kids, and how he envisioned the future of learning, and how education and is integrated with learning how to use sustainable energy and being sustainable, learning about how food works. He talks about physics a little bit and stuff like that. But I'll say that idea that that picture he painted of what he would like. And I said not what, but the picture he painted of what he thinks society should be of was very attractive to me. Which includes when he talks about foreign affairs and how he's going to approach communicating with, and how he talks about, I never heard anybody say this, but he said his intention isn't to go to other countries and exploit the people that live there and get resources from them. His intention is to work with the leaders in those countries to be able to learn and help while he's there, help the people that are there and their president come up with a way that makes their life in their country better.
Yeah. I'm going to try and find it, but I think that's when the last part, something about, it's that part also where he kind of pauses and prays.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can
I just
find
prayed.
it. It's like towards the end.
He just goes, I just prayed. Like, okay, cool.
Everyone, if we all work together, but approach this ironic prime evangelist, or I am a genius.
I don't think that's it.
That's not it.
It's towards the end, though. He talks,
Like when he,
Joe Rogan, well, because he's actually like taking it seriously now, or about the presidency. So he's actually talking to him about, or wanting to know certain things about policy.
right.
Because he asked him questions about certain things, but he would go on these like tangents where he wasn't really answering. He was answering it, but in a Kanye way,
Right.
and not sort of like talking to like the normal person,
Right.
where they want to hear. Like,
Also, I don't hear
certain things.
Kanye. I guess I never really seen it, and I feel like he does. But he one moment he goes, "Does that answer your question? Did I answer your question?" And I think that was really important, is because that shows me that he's aware that he goes on rants, and sometimes he doesn't answer the question, but he's willing to understand that he can backtrack and ask if he answered the question, and if not, he can explain further.
Yeah.
And that takes some kind of awareness from anybody.
Yeah. I think I found it.
Sorry about that, but I know you want to ask me some more serious stuff, so ding.
Oh, I remember that.
This is a big one. The military. If you really did become president, when you do become president, you're going to have to deal
Kanye
with
was like, yeah, you better say
hostile
when.
governments. You're going to have to deal with hostile
Foreign
militaries
policy.
and dictators. People in other countries that don't have a value of human life, and throughout history we've had immense problems because of that, because of military conflicts. How do you think you will approach that? I mean, you will be the commander-in-chief of the greatest army the world's ever known. If you're in that position,
I never saw the
and we have
video.
to deal with some sort
He's
of
just looking great.
military action with China. What if China takes over Taiwan? What if they invade Taiwan? What if something happens with Iran? What if something happens with Russia? And you...
Now I know why he kept saying
decisions
more
about
countries, because he
military
just looked at
action.
him like, is he listening to me?
Have you thought about this?
Yes, I would.
Oh, that was right here.
I like COVID. I'm a civilian, and people can have all their perspectives that they can have of what they would do in that situation. But I would have the greatest professionals on the planet, the most skilled people that have all the experience that would present the information, and I would make the most sound, rational decisions, and I would follow God's will in my approach to dealing with these other countries, to dealing with these other leaders. There's something about, our president's personality and the leader of North Korea's personality, where there's a level of common respect, and that's the reason why they were able to talk, and the fear had been taken off of us. Like, people who are
I was just gonna say, I'm not fighting World War III, bro. If we got into it with
self-made,
North Korea, I'm not fine with working.
Servants of
I guess Trump
their
had like
people,
the same attitude as Kim Jong Un.
these other, you know,
That they
scary,
kind of like,
dictators,
like
they
you're saying,
feel
respected
like
each
they're
other.
for their
That they
country.
were able to talk.
And if they see a president that they know is just taking a check or part of a bigger conglomerate, and I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to denounce any of the candidates, then it's very transactional. It's and I just said a prayer in this situation.
You said a prayer because
That was the best moment of the whole.
what motivated you to say a prayer right there? The seriousness, the significance of this subject?
Yeah, absolutely. We can't jump from jokes about this to joking about people's lives.
Right.
We have to completely be still in this moment. Allow God to guide our steps and ask the right questions with the highest ranking officials possible. This isn't something that you just wing or that you just come in and say, oh, I did a bit of research, I got this like political answer that's gonna get a rise out of people. Like this is people's lives. This is a whole different setting or mood than what this whole interview has been about. This is, people are suffering throughout all sides in Israel and in Nigeria and Haiti. We're suffering in the police force in Chicago, and the people have been harmed by police and the police force. Like, this all is going to take serious time. Like, time is love. It's going to take that love and that time and moments of listening, moments of understanding, moments like when my wife goes and visits people in prison and she hears their stories, she says, I understand why you're in that situation. I would have did the same thing in this situation. And for us to go to foreign countries and really understand why that they're in these situations, or why the killing has gone for so long, or why the hate has gone so long, or why the pain just keeps on, compounding and compacting. There's an empathy that I just have as an artist, that it doesn't become a 2 + 2 = 4 situation. My dad was actually a psychology major and a Christian therapist. And this therapy, we talk about therapy, period. It's like we need healing internationally, not just selfishly for America. America's number one. Internationally, we need healing. And I would lead. I would lead with love, dignity, the responsibility to our country, the coverage of our families, of our soldiers, and in full service to God and to the American people.
I'm gonna stop right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that answer because he
Recognizes the.
he's gonna be a leader, and sometimes when you're like an owner of a restaurant, perhaps you're not a cook, you're not a good cook, but you hire a good chef, then the chef hires like good workers to help the restaurant flow and create a good environment, create good food so people can come in and enjoy. And that's what kind of mindset he has. He's going to be a leader for the US,
Right.
where he talks with the experts,
Mm-hmm.
people who are really knowledgeable about certain things,
Yeah.
and work a cohesive, like, sort of orchestra.
Right.
Where he talks with them, and then based on what they tell him, he's going to make these decisions.
Right.
Because it's going to be the best one, because he has so much confidence in these people's ability to know about, like, the military or economics,
Mm-hmm.
the health industry, like making like healthcare.
That reminds me of when he was talking about how he found he found somebody that worked for MIT, that was a genius at something that was really cool, but the person didn't want to, how do I put this? The person didn't want to leave MIT because MIT was like funding their life in a sense, because he worked for MIT. And Kanye was just basically saying that you have the ability to be more than what you're doing right now, but because you want that job security, you're you're not sure how things are going to work when you leave here, you're not going to take a chance. You know what I mean? And I like the way he speaks, because he has consumed how much of the bullshit the system has been.
Yeah.
And he's expressing the fact that there's so much selfishness happening in the like literally the government, that it's his approach is to put together real people who have real experience and have real knowledge about what is, like, how to solve issues, and he's going to use their natural ability, because those people have spent so much time to understand that what they're saying works. I think he I can't remember if he mentioned this or not, but let's see, what was he talking about? I think he was talking about when he feels like he's the kind of person that knows how to put certain people together and make it work. And then he also made examples, which is incredibly awesome. He mentioned that he had 2 people that were working for him at Donda that branched out and right now are working for 2 major luxury companies.
Oh, I think so.
Right.
I remember that. I forgot what companies they were, but
I can't remember the names or the companies, but like him mentioning details like that gives you the kind of idea, that gives you a better idea of the kind of person he is naturally. You know what I mean? With all the things that he's worked on, he just generally seems to be the kind of person that wants to find shit and put it together. And if it's awesome and he thinks it's awesome, then he's going to do it, and other people find it awesome, then they're going to enjoy it.
yeah.
And if they don't, he's just going to create something else that he wants to try and create, and somebody thinks is great. It's great. If not, I mean, people buy his things, and I started to realize why they buy it for 2 reasons. He talks about people that buy his stuff to resell it because of the hype beast mentality.
Yeah.
And the fact that he goes through a process to create the things that he creates, and then when I listen to how he creates the shoes with the thought of how the human leg or how the body moves, and design and taking laces off shoes and stuff like that, I think he's just like the general type of person that if there's something that used to work a certain way, he thinks that there's a way that it could work a little bit better. And with that mindset, he goes through the extremes to make that happen.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't like about
Yeah,
the way he
he's
goes about it.
extremist.
Yeah, he's an extremist in creating.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked when he talked about the love thing.
Yeah.
And also like incorporating that with leading,
Mm-hmm.
because they were talking about foreign policy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because other countries are different. You know,
Right.
I think we are number one, but we think of us as like really like the best
Yeah.
that ever was and ever will be.
Yeah.
And we try to sort of bring that to other countries. But we have to realize that their countries are being ran differently. They have different circumstances.
Right.
So we have to work with that and
Right.
build them up.
Right.
That's what he's trying to do.
Right.
He realizes that everywhere around the world there's issues, and we have to talk to their leaders and see why these certain things are happening and find solutions to them.
Instead of going there and be like, you got some oil.
Yeah, or sending our military and then just throwing bombs
Right.
in random towns,
Right.
even though we know there's bad people there, but there's also innocent people there that are
Right.
losing lives.
It's, it's difficult to have a conversation about stuff like that with that thought, in the sense of like, there are innocent people that die every time some military action is made to get rid of bad people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, and that's something that when I think about, I don't like the idea of military going to places and freeing them. Because as we keep learning, they're like, it's not, they make it seem like it's a win situation, but it's not a win-win situation.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How much evil did they measure that they're going to get rid of while considering innocent lives that are in the way?
Mhm. Yeah.
How much evil is evil enough to be like, okay, we can bomb this place and in this process sacrifice these kids.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a difficult question to answer. Obviously, I don't have the answer, and
no,
you don't.
I don't
But I don't think a lot of people ask yourself these questions. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Or perhaps they're put into pressure, and perhaps they do think of these things, but
Right.
in the end, it's perhaps the best out of all the worst outcomes that
Right.
are there. You know,
Right.
Perhaps in our view, since we're not looking at different options, perhaps we see it as, oh well, maybe there's better choices. But maybe when they're given these details,
Right.
and then certain options that they can go with, perhaps the one that they choose, even though they're sacrificing innocent lives,
Right.
it's probably the best one. You know?
Right. You know,
Like the presidency.
Right.
You know, Biden isn't that great as well.
Right.
But a lot of people would rather have him than Trump.
Right.
Because they hate Trump so much.
Right.
That they literally don't care who the other person is.
Yeah. It's so strange because when I had already voted. So when I listened to this, it was like,
You wanted to vote for Kanye?
I would have voted for Kanye.
Yeah. I mean, you could write him in. He didn't get much votes. So.
He didn't get. I was like, bro, I'm not gonna get you votes if you're not getting that much votes. How much difference is it gonna make? You know what I mean? I guess I never knew, but now we know.
But you could say the same thing if, like, let's say you voted for Biden.
Yeah.
He ended up winning, so maybe what if you didn't vote for him?
Right.
Would he have not won?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's like a little bit tough, but in a sense, I'm listening to him talk about these wonderful ideas that I've never heard anybody in the political world present in this way with this much thought, considering everybody that lives on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He said this is an international problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not just our problem.
Right.
Or our problems.
Racism wasn't created in America. Racism came to America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it is international, and there are people everywhere in the world that are consuming and going through and being exposed to certain materials that slowly shape the way they think about who they are, who they're with, the people that are not here or somewhere else in some other country.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm thinking now, we thought connecting the world would make the world a better place, but connecting the world has given opportunities for certain people to be able to hate. Some people would be able to love. You know, and what I mean by that is,
What do you
we
mean
have
connecting the
Facebook,
world?
like we have,
by social media.
by social media. You know, like I think everybody's enjoyment of social media more is on the fact that they can communicate with people that are not anywhere close to them or in another country.
Mm-hmm.
But it's become more than that. You know what I mean? And we're thinking that being able to hear the voices of other people in other countries, which I'm not saying is not important. It is important. But it's this whole stream that has connected everybody as giving an opportunity for certain people that are just horrible to be able to thrive too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like how much more racist can you be if you didn't have the Facebook to just say racist shit? Like if you were a racist person in a small town and there was no technology, you just racist here. You can't be racist to somebody who's in Europe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just racist here. And that's all it's going to matter. Your intensity of your racism doesn't expand.
Mm-hmm.
You know
But
what I mean?
also, yeah, there people build up like courage through online to say whatever they want sometimes because the screen is not going to punch
Right.
you
Right.
or kill you
Right.
because he said something.
Right.
That's you build some sense of security that you can talk shit to other people across the country
Yeah.
and nothing will ever happen to you.
Right. And it's giving people freedom to say whatever they want, but now people are just saying whatever they want.
Yeah.
And if you're exposed to the social media, and I would say this, you don't need the social media. There are people that live in the mountains that don't have the internet. Their quality of life is probably way more cooler than ours. They probably have beautiful gardening. They can harvest fresh fruit. They don't have to wait in a line. They can wake up and do whatever they want because the success of their life isn't determined by having a 9-to-5 job.
Mm.
You know, if they want to work on something, they can pick it up and work on it. And when it's done, it's done. If it's not done, it's not done. They can shift between whatever they want to do. And life would be so much enjoyable that way. Instead of going on 9 to 5 and going to happy hour. You know what I mean? But this is the life we're living right now. And
Living the American dream.
I guess we're living the American dream. Maybe coming to America give us the ability to live our ultimate American dream, which is just do whatever we want to do.
Yeah. That's why when people complain, we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
There's like countries where they don't have freedoms like here.
Yeah.
Like I understand that there's certain circumstances where you feel that perhaps there's still certain things that are happening to you that have happened to other people of your type before.
Right.
And you feel like there is no progress.
Right.
But there's other countries where there's worse.
Right.
And
I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Not saying that. Not saying that we're because you're talking about things that matter that we don't care. It's just that like we're all going through this really interesting thing called life.
Yeah, and there's people out there that are suffering worse. I'm not telling people who are not suffering, like in here, in the U.S., that they should forget about the problems that are happening, but also just be aware that if things don't end up being solved really quickly, then don't get angry
Right.
and mad at the world
Right.
or America because you're not getting certain things about your life better.
Right.
But they will eventually get better because there's always progress and freedom in this country, I think, because it has so many types of like demographics.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has an ability to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have the same like sort of benefits as people who were born here
Mm-hmm.
or stuff like that, but I ended up buying this house. You know,
Right.
I worked hard. You know, this year was probably a bad year for many people because they probably didn't save up or
Yeah.
made financial decisions that weren't good. But I didn't go through that. You know, I actually
Right.
went the reverse.
Right.
And
It's so strange because I'm thinking like, especially when we're in quarantine, I had to check my emotions and my ego for a second because I'm like, man, I can't go to work. This sucks. And then I realized people are dying from the virus. Like that is like the ultimate this sucks.
yeah.
You know, just sitting at home and not being able to do something isn't just sucks. That means you can do whatever you want. You can't do whatever you want when you're dead.
Obviously.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people just have to check the fact that like being alive is worth more than like anything.
Yeah, and like you're mentioning the quarantine, you know, I was lucky enough. I say lucky because maybe some people enjoyed having the time off because they were getting on unemployment benefits probably. But for me,
Which I think about now, I should have not gone to work so early, but then I would have been a lazy dude. And
I don't know. I don't think I would have had this house if I would have stopped going to work and maybe applied for unemployment. I could have applied. Luckily, I because I have DACA, I think I was eligible. But I felt lucky enough that the cheesecake gave me like 4 days or 5 days, even if it was just for like 3 or 4 hours. But I felt lucky that I had a job still.
Right.
And I had income coming in.
Right.
Because there were people out there that had no job.
Right.
And had no money.
Or they're
and
sick.
They were like thinking about, they were sick and thinking about like what they're going to do.
Right.
But I was lucky enough that I was able to keep working. And it made me more, what would you say?
Empathetic.
Appreciative of
your life.
Of the life
your
that
circumstance,
I have.
yeah.
And then once everything ended, not everything, of course, the virus still goes on, but like the quarantine stuff, I mean, I just put it second gear and hustled. But yeah, everyone should seek to progress with certain things, right?
Right.
But everything has its time.
Right.
Everything will eventually come. And I think this country is the best at that.
Right.
Like I mentioned, different demographics. Everyone has the opportunity to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Not maybe in the same amount of success, but you will achieve. You are given an opportunity to be successful.
Right.
It's just up to you whether you want to sit around and be on your phone or sit around watching TV, Netflix, instead of working towards your life.
Right.
That's the freedom that you're given.
Right.
Because other countries, you're probably forced to work.
Right.
There's like people in China that are making your iPhones that are probably children as well that hate it.
Right.
They are there and that they commit suicide so much that they have to put nets around the building. We don't have to go through that.
But your phone
But
dies.
you want your phone.
Your phone dies for 1 second and you're pissed.
Yeah, and just be aware that the countries that are out there are some that are worse than what you're suffering. And be appreciative of what you have. Even if it seems bad to you, it's actually the best.
Yeah. Yeah, people should be reminded also to create their own image or their own dream or their own picture of what success is. As we keep learning, getting rich isn't success. It's success in how much you acquire, but we've all known a lot of celebrities that have committed suicide, expressed their thoughts on how different being famous is. You don't have a normal life anymore, as they say. And you have to try and consider that if you're deciding to follow a path that leads to that kind of life. You have to be conscious of the fact that your happiness level might be a little bit lower than you expected. Chasing the dream of being like extremely rich. Yeah.
Obviously, when we're young, I think we're like giving this image of success.
Yeah.
But eventually, you come to realize that just being successful is being happy with the people you're around.
Right.
In the circumstances you're around with. Because, I mean, the old place that we had, like going back, because there's still some stuff that are there. But I look at it and it's like really small, you know. The space is small. The like the kitchen is really tiny.
Mm-hmm.
I go upstairs and then the rooms are
right there.
Yeah, they're not as like spacious as we don't have as much freedom to do as much, and then we have so many cats that they look like a mess in the whole entire apartment.
Mm-hmm.
But then coming here, we have more space. Like, it made me realize that even if I was having this little space and not, you would say like good lifestyle,
mm-hmm.
we were all happy there. We spent like 9 years in that place, and we shared so many good things, and we felt happy.
Right.
And we still carry that happiness coming here, but it wasn't because we have a new house that we obtained happiness.
Right.
We already had that.
Right.
But this is just something that builds on top of our happiness.
Right.
But that is the true meaning of success, when you're happy with what you have.
Right.
And realizing that you don't really need these extra things.
Right.
Whatever is enough. And it's mostly important the people that you're with.
Right.
Being loved.
Right.
That's all that matters.
Truly.
I think that's pretty much it, I guess, for
we came back. What did we hit?
Almost 3 hours. We're
Nice.
20 minutes off.
Oh,
but
wow.
I mean, there's so much to talk about. But we wanted to focus more on the topic of politics, because it's something that's going on right now.
Right.
And
can't avoid it.
Yeah, you can't really avoid it. I was checking Google constantly.
Dude, I only check like once a day. I wake up, look at the TV, see if Sleepy Joe is up. Is Sleepy Joe up? Okay, sure. And then only because I'm like, people just get terrified. I feel like people are just gonna get terrified when Trump is up, and I'm like, dude, just relax, man. Like,
this is so weird because it's Saturday. What is it? 4 days after Election Day.
Yeah.
So it's really weird that now we're like getting the news of who the president is going to be.
I thought it was going to take a whole week, honestly.
I guess I got used to the fact that they announce it on the day.
Yeah.
And even if they announce it like maybe 2 a.m, but it's pretty much close to the actual day.
Yeah.
Not 4 days later.
Right.
So I was watching it. Trump was up, and then I was listening to Rogan Podcast live, and he had like a political expert, so he was explaining a lot of things in key like states that Trump needed to like win if he wanted to have a chance of winning. And Pennsylvania was one of them, Florida,
Florida, PA and GA.
Florida was there also. So while I was watching it, Florida was blue, and I was like, dang, so Trump might not win. And then later on, I saw it turn red.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he might win. And then it was later on at night, and he was up on all those states. They were all red, like Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Texas, Arizona, Nevada. He was all those red. And then he came out and said his bullshit, like,
oh, I won.
Yeah. Well, it's not that he said he won, but he said, you know, we have all these leads. we're pretty sure
They can't catch
we
us.
won. Yeah,
Yeah.
we won. And then Pence came out and said, well, there's still votes to count, but we're hoping that we still end up winning. We're confident that we're going to end up winning. Pence is always there to fucking clear everything up. But in that press briefing, I guess, he said, it was, I think, like at 2 a.m. And he said...
Who said, Mike or Donald?
No, it was Trump.
Oh, okay.
He said...
Oh, Trump, yeah.
We're up in all these numbers, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the next few hours I lose my lead, he said. Literally 2 hours. I don't know. There's like memes. So Michigan, Trump was up a lot in Michigan. Then Biden was there. Mm-hmm. Then out of nowhere, it just climbed straight. Literally like hours before, after Trump had said that. I was like, what the? Yeah. He literally jumped and he took the lead. Yeah. And Trump lost.
I don't
know, like, what was the reasoning?
I mean, after the first one, a lot of things were revealed about, like, Russia getting involved and stuff like that. So, do you think, like, we're going to get another episode of that? Maybe we'll see Anonymous again?
No, I think it was with the mail-in ballots. Because I was seeing some people that they were saying that they received the mail-in ballots and they filled it out. Mm. And then when it was election day, when they were doing the in-person voting, they also went. So they voted like twice. And then I was seeing some other people post like these certain people died or were dead.
Oh, were dead.
And then they still ended up being counted as a vote.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're true or not, but
there's a lot going on.
I just want everything to be like as legal as possible, or truthful as possible. Everything is legit
from both sides.
Yeah, from both. Yeah, it doesn't matter
if it was. That's kind of important.
Trump. Yeah, it's important because if the Democrats are really like cheating, well, they were complaining like 4 years that Trump cheated,
right? And
now they're just because Trump is like complaining for like 3-4 days. Mm-hmm. They're like giving him a hard time about it.
Right.
When like most of those people spent like 4 years saying that Russia hacked the election. So you really have no like
I want to see Anonymous get involved again. That was so cool.
I don't think they'll get involved.
That was so Anonymous, y'all hear me?
Perhaps. Yeah.
That would be so cool because like if it turns out that the Democrats cheated, but what if they revealed that the Republicans also cheated? That would be so crazy because both sides were cheating.
I doubt it. Because Trump won, so he sent out a legal thing, a lawsuit.
Yeah, I remember.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
The lawsuit was that he wanted people to go in the building and see them count the votes, but they wouldn't let them.
Yeah.
So like, why are you not letting? Like, if you're saying that everything's legit, why aren't you just letting them come in? Like, watch you guys count. And then he won that lawsuit, so I think they were forced to let people in, and they countered the lawsuit. Like, why are you countering? Like,
because they all want to be right.
You're like trying to, either you want to be right, or you're kind of giving off a vibe that something's up, and you're not wanting them to go in.
Right.
And watch.
Both sides are like, well, we need to prove we have a hunch, and we need to prove. Where's this hunch coming from? I don't know. Well, we can't let you win, but that creates a hunch that you're keeping something. So you see, like, it's very just like this like back and forth relationship that both sides have. It's like trying to like expose each other and say bad things about each other. And one of them is like, well, I don't say these things about you.
Yeah.
Or you don't say these things about, I don't say these things about you, and you don't say these things about me. So that's why we're different. But they both try and go after each other, like literally.
Yeah. It would be so crazy if like they counted everything over again and somehow Trump ended up getting more votes.
A lot of them states were red, man.
And then they would have to announce Trump as
The president.
the winner.
I don't give a shit. I'm still gonna be a tennis teacher, man.
No, I don't. But it'll just be crazy to hear all of, or
That would
watch
be-
the people's reaction.
You know
Because
that
they're gonna say like something is up. Because why would? How come Trump is winning now and he wasn't earlier?
right.
You know, maybe they will try and blame Trump for doing something shady when in fact he actually won it legit.
Right. I know. That would be so, like, if that was the plot twist, that would be the plot twist of the plot twist. That would be like Donald is saying, basically you're saying that Donald's like, they're cheating. I know they're cheating. And then we find out, okay, they are cheating. And then we're like, wow, Donald was right. They were cheating. Like,
That would be
like,
funny.
that would like,
That would
this
just
is-
discredit the whole Democratic Party.
yeah. That would be like the ultimate, like, this is a Black Mirror episode right here.
Yeah, I haven't watched much Black Mirror, but yeah, it totally seems something like
This
that.
is a Black Mirror
Yeah.
episode right here, dude.
I also made a prediction. I put it on Facebook that Kamala Harris is gonna become president.
Nah, I think Kanye will become president
No,
before
no, no,
Kamala.
no. I'm saying
Oh,
they're gonna take Biden out, put Kamala up.
what?
You know the 25th Amendment?
What is that?
The 25th Amendment means that if
Oh
something
yeah,
happens to
it's the president, the vice
the
president
vice
can step in.
But you know Nancy Pelosi, right?
Yeah.
Were you talking to me about when she went in the salon?
The salon.
Oh, okay, never mind. That was with my cousin.
Okay. I don't speak Spanish, but I was saying that.
No, because
What
in
salon?
California, no one can go get their hair done or anything.
They're still on
everything's
lockdown.
closed. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
Nancy
I did-
Pelosi went and got her hair done and then was in there walking around with no mask. Like, she got a lot of flack for that. And she didn't even like say, oh, it was my bad, you know. She said they set her up. I'm like, what? You know what the rules are. How are they going to set you up? Like,
Yeah. They're all so
if
bad.
everything is closed and they tell you, oh, come in, we can get your hair done. But you know that everything is supposed to be closed. Why are you going?
Yeah.
And she had no mask either. And they caught her on the camera. But I brought her up because...
Wait, do you think that she got set up then or no?
No.
Oh.
She just wanted to get her hair done.
Oh.
It was the virus, and she made like a video showing her fridge and how much gelato she has in her fridge. Expensive gelato. While people are like, have no jobs and don't have anything to eat.
Yeah,
And she's over there showing off her expensive gelato and like tasting and everything. What the? But I bring her up because she had this thing where she's proposing this thing for Congress of the 25th Amendment to sort of kind of not, I don't know if add or something, but she mentions that they want to give Congress the power if they see that the president isn't mentally fit to run the country, that they can take him out of the office and put whoever they want in.
That'd be great.
But that's where I'm saying that because Biden has shown some instances where he kind of like forgets certain things, or
He expresses the sleepy Joe literally.
yeah, he's there sleeping, or he can't even like think of his own thoughts, that he has to read through a teleprompter.
Mm-hmm.
That I think they're gonna say that he's mentally unfit,
Mm-hmm.
so they're gonna take him out and put Kamala in.
Hmm.
That's what I think. That's my prediction.
But why Kamala though?
Why?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. First female president. I don't know. Maybe she's more corrupt. Maybe because she has views that maybe align with what Congress wants.
Hmm.
I don't know.
That is true.
Maybe they just don't want Joe there.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Joe.
Because Joe's
Joe?
not mentally stable, so they have to put someone who is. But they just needed to have
Someone
a
went.
body there. No, because Biden beat Bernie.
Oh, that's
so
right. Bernie should have been president.
I don't think Bernie should.
What? Why not?
He likes communism. He's a socialist.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He likes Cuba. Cuba was a dictatorship of communists, and he
Oh,
always
that's
brings
right.
up their education system where they had like 100% literacy rate, but like people were dying, like being poor. But he always like sort of gratifies Cuba and all these communist countries.
Damn, Bernie.
He's kind of crazy.
See,
But have you seen the meme? Have you ever watched wrestling?
wrestling.
Like WWE?
Yeah.
You saw the meme?
Yeah. You're gonna have to pull that one up again, man.
Oh, pull it up?
Yeah, but wait, are we still recording?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Anyways, should we keep going or what? What are we doing?
Yeah, we can conclude it.
All right.
Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. I know some people don't like the topic of politics,
Right.
and sometimes people get offended,
Right.
and we understand that, a lot of people have their own opinions, but I
'Cause
feel like
they're
it's something that should
internalizing.
be, yeah, it should always be something that you should talk about, and it shows an open-mindedness if you're willing to listen to other people's opinions,
Right.
even if you don't agree with them. That's where the thing that love comes in,
Right.
love each other, no matter their like view in life or opinions about certain things.
Love the new religion, man.
Yeah. But and even if you didn't enjoy it, hopefully it was some substantial like substance that you were able to grasp, maybe new
Yeah.
ideas about certain things. We'll see you on the next episode, I guess.
All right.
Peace.